Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
And a happy Valentine's Day Wednesday to you, 14th day of February. We'll have some westerns, and we will have a couple of episodes of Jack Benny and his birthday shows on his birthday. This is the Wednesday. This is the 14th day of February, 45th day of the year, 321 days remaining till we get out of 2024. 1803, Chief Justice John Marshall declared any act of Congress which conflicts with the Constitution is void. In New York City in 1849, James Knox Polk became the first president to have his photograph taken. In 1854, Texas was linked by telegraph with the rest of the U.S., the completion of a connection between New Orleans and Marshall, Texas. Happy birthday, Oregon! Oregon admitted as the 33rd state of the Union on this date in 1859. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell applied for a patent for the telephone, as did Elisha Gray. In 1886, the first trainload of oranges left Los Angeles by the Transcontinental Railroad. 1899, voting machines approved by the U.S. Congress for use in federal elections. In 1903, the Department of Commerce and Labor established as a single department. It would later be split into two departments, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor. Happy birthday, Arizona. You were admitted as the 48th state of the Union on this date in 1912. In Groton, Connecticut on this date in 1912, the first diesel-powered submarine commissioned. Tarzan of the Apes, the first movie featuring Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan character, released in 1918. In 1920, the League of Women Voters founded in Chicago. The International Business Machines Corporation founded on this date in 1924. And in 1929, the infamous St. Valentine's Day Massacre, 7 gangster rivals of Al Capone murdered in Chicago. In 1945, President Roosevelt met with King Saud of Saudi Arabia aboard the USS Quincy, officially starting the U.S.-Saudi diplomatic relationship. Now, it was on this date in 1962, First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy took TV viewers on a tour of the White House.
I feel so strongly that the White House should have as fine a collection of American pictures as possible. It's so important, the setting in which the presidency is presented to the world, to foreign visitors, and American people should be proud of it. We had such a great civilization that so many foreigners don't realize it.
The film showed Kennedy on a tour of the House with the CBS News correspondent Charles Collingwood. The film toured the first glimpse the American public had of the $2 million restoration of the White House that Kennedy had helped direct in the first year of her husband's presidency. The program viewed by 80 million viewers and globally syndicated to 50 countries, including Russia and China. In 1980, Walter Cronkite announced his retirement from the CBS Evening News. His last day in the anchor chair there was on March 6, 1981. In 1989, Union Carbide agreed to pay $470 million to the Indian government for damages it caused in the 1984 Bhopal disaster. In 1989, Iranian leader Ruhollah Khomeini issued a fatwa encouraging Muslims to kill the author of the Satanic Verses, Salman Rushdie. The first of 24 satellites of the Global Positioning System placed into orbit on this date in 1989. In 2005, Lebanon's former Prime Minister Rafik Hariri assassinated, prompting the country to fall into chaos and divisions.
His murder is an attempt to stifle these efforts to build an independent, sovereign Lebanon free of foreign domination.
Explosives equivalent to around 1,800 kilograms of TNT detonated as his motorcade drove past the St. George Hotel in Beirut. The investigation, believed to have been linked to the Syrian government, still ongoing. 7 people killed, 151 wounded in a series of bombings by suspected al-Qaeda-linked militants that hit the Philippines' Makati Financial District in Metro Manila, Davao City, and General Santos City on this date in 2005. On that same date, YouTube launched by a group of college students, eventually becoming the largest video sharing website in the world and a main source of viral videos. And of course, you can also hear our podcasts there. And by the way, we don't get any revenue from YouTube, and a number of people have taken to redistributing our videos through their own channel. So if you're not getting this video on YouTube through Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, I would suggest you report this channel, not because I don't like the videos being redistributed. I don't like people stealing my material, you know. In 2008, Northern Illinois University, a gunman opened fire in a lecture hall of the DeKalb County, Illinois University, resulting in 6 fatalities, including the gunman, and 21 injuries. And it was in 2018, the Marjorie Stone Douglas High School shooting in the Miami metro area, one of the deadliest school shootings, 17 fatalities, and 15 injuries. Among those passing away on this date in history, St. Valentine, marking Valentine's Day. Now, also passing away on this date, P.G. Wodehouse, the English author, Frederick Lowe, composer with Lerner, also John Ehrlichman, presidential advisor, deeply involved in the Watergate incident, Buddy Knox, all I want to be is a party doll, Louis Bellson, fine drummer and composer, Bellson mostly known for his work with Doc Severinsen's Tonight Show Orchestra, pianist George Shearing, and singer-songwriter Dory Previn, all passing away on this date. As I mentioned in the early going, this was Jack Benny's birthday, and he passed away in 1974 at the age of 39, born in 1894. Figure out the math. Also, sports writer Mel Allen, and a radio announcer as well. Labor leader Jimmy Hoffa, who is presumed dead. He's never been proven that he's dead. The chief on Get Smart, Edward Platt, born on this date, as was TV host Hugh Downs. Vic Morrow, another fine actor. The last of the McGuire sisters, Phyllis McGuire, born on this date. Also, actress Florence Henderson, born on this date, and dancer Gregory Hines. All those folks born on this date who are no longer with us.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
And it's a relatively short list, starting with Penn and Teller's Teller, who turned 76 today. Pro wrestler, trainer Rip Rogers, 70 years old today. He trained a lot of great pro wrestlers, and he was something else himself. Also, Canadian actress Meg Tilly is 64. From Shaun of the Dead, Simon Pegg is 54. From ECW and currently with TNA and a host on Busted Open Radio on Sirius XM, Tommy Dreamer, 53 years old today. From Matchbox 20, and I love his song Smooth, Rob Thomas is 52 today. From The Walking Dead and the Black Panther series, Danai Gurira is 46. And from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Bates Motel, and most recently, The Good Doctor, Freddie Highmore is 32. Those just a few of the people who celebrate Valentine's Day, the 14th day of February, is their birthday. If this happens to be your birthday,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Some of the fine artists of Capitol Records singing happy birthday today. Well, from a number of years ago. All right, let's get started with this Valentine's Day edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of The Six Shooter starring Jimmy Stewart from 70 years ago, February 14th, 1954, the story of Quiet City. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station.
Our religious institutions are strongholds of the American way of life. Our country was founded by men who had faith in God and who were willing to endure hardship and sacrifice for the sake of that faith. Today, the religious institutions in your community need your interest and support, so take an active part in religious affairs. Your pastor, rabbi, or priest will give you invaluable family counsel and aid if you are a newcomer to the community. To face the problems of the future, America must be morally strong. And that moral strength comes through worship and faith. Go to church this week and take someone with you.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Wednesday, we go back 70 years, February 14th, 1950, for an episode of The Six-Shooter, starring Jimmy Stewart, the last big attempt to bring a big-name star to a radio show. And of course it didn't work. The show lasted one season, but we have some great episodes with Jimmy. This episode is entitled Quiet City.
James Stewart as the Six-Shooter. The man in the saddle is angular and long-legged. His skin is sun-dyed brown. The gun in his holster is gray steel and rainbow mother of pearl. Its handle unmarked. People call them both the Six-Shooter. The NBC Radio Network presents James Stewart as the Six-Shooter, a transcribed series of radio dramas based on the life of Britt Ponsett, the Texas plainsman who wandered through the Western Territories, leaving behind a trail of still-remembered legends.
I sure don't know where the town ever got that name, Quiet City. Every time I came through it was anything but quiet. In the old days, the Apaches were always stirring up trouble. After the Indians were moved onto the reservation, there was still plenty of excitement. There was shooting practically every weekend. At least that's how it was when I was here last. Of course, that was, about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And now the town did seem sort of different at first glance. Anyhow, there were 20 or 30 new houses along the side of the creek there. The main street was a good 4 blocks longer than when I remembered it. Quiet City sure was growing up. There couldn't be any doubt about that. I figured the population must have reached the 1,000 mark, maybe even higher. And all that growing made the place seem, well, kind of settled and businesslike. To tell you the truth, Quiet City was almost quiet. Anyhow, I headed Scar over to the hitching rail in front of the sheriff's office and pulled up. Whoa, boy. Whoa, Scar. Whoa. The door of the office was open.
Something I can do if you're... Britt!
Hello, Hank. How are you?
Britt, you old son of a gun. Why didn't you let a body know you were heading this way?
Well, I didn't know it myself till last week. Tim Parker came into some property over by Fulton. He asked me to sit on it for a couple of months till he could take charge.
Oh, Fulton, huh?
Yeah, it's real nice.
Farming land.
Well, Tim wasn't certain.
That's all there is over that way now. There ain't no more ranches, Britt, just farms.
Yeah. Well, I guess this part of the country's changing.
Yeah, some, I reckon.
I sure wouldn't have recognized Quiet City, heck. It's not a small town anymore, is it?
No, we've done our share of growing. There ain't no doubt about that.
Well, more than your share, I'd say.
But the people are the same, Britt. Oh, maybe they buy more ready-made clothes than they used to and send most of their kids to school, but that's just a skin change. Underneath, they ain't no different.
Yeah, still giving you trouble, huh?
No, I've got them under a tight rein most of the time. But if I was to turn them loose, well, we'd be right back to where we was 20 years ago.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, I do. Well, what I mean is, Britt, you can't expect human nature to start improving overnight, you know.
Oh, that's true enough, yeah.
But some folks don't see it my way. They think that just because we've got churches and a schoolhouse and a railroad depot, we're like them towns back east. peaceful and half asleep, where all you need a sheriff for is to lock up the Saturday night drunks. Why, back there, they don't even call them sheriffs. They call them peace officers. Well, I ain't no peace officer. I'm a sheriff. And this is still the West.
Sure.
I just dropped my guard once. That's all I'd need to do. They'd be killing each other right out there in the main street.
Yeah, well, I guess you'd be the best judge of that. How's Buzz? How's he?
Oh, about the same.
Full grown, I'll bet. How old is he now?
20, last birthday.
No.
Yeah, he's a big fellow, too. 6'3".
Oh, well, taller than you are, huh?
An inch or so.
You made him a deputy yet?
What are you talking about?
Well, you always said that when the time came, you were going to fix it so Buzz could just slide right into your boots. Don't you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. But sometimes things don't work out the way a man plans.
Oh?
No, Buzz has got ideas of his own. Crazy fool ideas. I offered him a job working with me, but he wouldn't have none of it. He's aiming to leave Quiet City.
Oh, is that so?
And you know why, Britt? So's he can go to school.
I see.
It ain't as if I didn't see to it that he got his learning. I promised his ma before she died. Promised her I'd see that he was brung up right. And I kept my word, too. I sent him the very first day Jane Weatherby started teaching. And I didn't take him out when he'd learned to just read and write and figure. No, I let him keep on till he got his diploma. I guess that's where I was wrong. I should have took him out before he got too smart for his own good.
Oh, now, heck, now. The more education a man gets, the better he's off.
I ain't so sure of that. Life ain't in books. How much schooling did you have?
Well, a little more wouldn't have done me any harm.
You've made out all right, and so have I. So would Buzz if he'd come to his senses and stay here where he belongs.
When's he leaving?
No, he was getting his things together when I left the house this morning. Maybe he's gone by now for all I know.
Oh, no, he wouldn't do that, not without saying goodbye to you.
Britt.
Yeah?
I was just thinking. If Buzz still is here, if he hasn't left yet, maybe you could talk.
Oh, now, hold on.
He won't listen to me, Britt.
No,
but if you was to... Oh.
Hello, Pa.
What do you want, Buzz?
Well, I'd like to speak to you if you're not too busy, that is.
For a minute, Hack didn't answer. He just stared at the leather satchel in his son's hand. Buzz was a big fellow, all right. Husky, plenty of muscles. But somehow his face didn't match his body, especially his eyes. They were kind of tired looking. And he kept blinking as though he wasn't used to the daylight. And there were wrinkles in his forehead, too. Not the kind you get from riding against the sun. Just little creases that made him look older than he really was.
Well, Buzz, with all your fancy education, ain't you got manners enough to speak to Britt Ponsett?
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. It's been quite a spell.
Well, I can't say I blame you, Buzz. I wouldn't have known you in a month of Sundays. Well, if you'll excuse me,
No, there's no reason for you to go, Britt. I just wanted to tell Pa goodbye. I'm taking the 4 o'clock train east, Pa.
I see.
Well, I'll be back someday.
That's mighty considerate of you.
Well, so long.
Just you hold up a minute, young fella. You won't pay no attention to me, I know that. Well, Britt here ain't got no axe to grind. If he says you're loco, if he says you're going off on a wild goose chase, maybe then you'll...
Now, heck, this isn't any of my concern, and even if it was...
You ain't heard it all, Britt. You don't know what he aims to do with his extra schooling. A lawyer. That's what he wants to be.
Oh?
That's what I'm going to be, Pa.
Tell him the rest of it, Buzz. Tell him how you're going to come back here and practice law. Ain't that rich, Britt? Quiet City's going to have a full-fledged lawyer.
Look, Pa, do we have to go all over that again?
Why, you'll be the laughing stock. This town ain't got no use for a lawyer. Never will have. A sheriff. That's what the town will need, a new sheriff. I ain't getting any younger, Britt. First thing you know, I'll be 60. A 60-year-old sheriff won't be able to hold folks in check. Not for long.
Yeah, sure, they'll need a new sheriff, and I'm sorry that I'm just not the man for the job.
You could be that man if you wanted to.
Yes, but I don't want to, Pa. I want to be a lawyer, and I'll be more used to the town that way. Oh, look, you've got to understand, these are different times.
What's so different about them?
Everything. You think we're still living on the frontier. You think that star on your vest and that 6-gun in your holster is still the only law around here. Well, you're wrong, Pa. You're dead wrong. This isn't the frontier anymore. You're not the law. You're just supposed to carry it out.
Ain't that what I've been doing all these years?
Look, I'm not saying that your way isn't what the town needed once, but your job is done. You can't expect me to take up where you left off. I'm not you, Pa. This isn't the same town it was. These people aren't the same ones who settled here 20 years ago.
Britt, you see what I mean, Britt?
Well, maybe he's right, Hank.
You think everything's changed, too?
Well, some things, anyway.
Well, what about folks themselves, deep down inside? They're still the same. Some of them are decent and law-abiding, and others as mean as the devil and always will be.
You just won't believe the town's civilized now, will you?
You'll see how civilized it is when the chips are down. You'll see, Mr. Lawyer.
Well, looks like we just don't agree, Pa, and we never will, so... It's nice seeing you again, Britt.
Yeah, good seeing you, Bud.
So long, Pa. Good luck.
Hey, Buzz, your old man there?
Yeah, he's here, Doc.
Well, tell him to get out to Jace Norton's place. There's been a shooting. Pipe Clamper done it. Folks say that Jace is hurt bad. Now tell your pa to get right out there.
Okay, Doc, I tell him.
There you are. That's how much Quiet City has changed, Buzz. Folks still shooting each other, still taking the law in their own hands. Sure are civilized, ain't they?
Well, I'll go with you, Pa.
What for? So as you can advise Pipe Clamper of his lawful rights when I arrest him? Get out of my way, Buzz. I've got work to do.
Ain't been a shooting, Britt, for over 2 years, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, I reckon there's been one today.
Yep. Looks like Pa was right. All my talk about this town growing up, it's just what it was, talk.
Maybe so.
Well, I better get over to Jace Norton's and see if Pa needs help. He's not as young as he used to be if he tries to take Pipe Clamper alone.
Well, do you think he'd let you help him even if he needed it?
No, I guess he wouldn't. But somebody... Britt?
No, he wouldn't appreciate me interfering in his business either.
Well, now, if you just happen to be riding out east of town, sort of stopped off.
East, huh?
Yeah. The Norton Ranch is right next to old Miss Bradley's place.
Oh, is that so?
Mm-hmm.
That's so, oh. Well, that's quite a coincidence.
Oh?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was figuring on dropping in on Mattie Bradley before I left town. Maybe have supper with her if she invited me.
It's getting on toward supper now.
Oh, you don't say? Time sure does fly, doesn't it? I had no idea that late.
We'll return to James Stewart as the six-shooter in just a moment. But right now, I want you to hear something that may startle you. At least, I hope it will. It's simply this. Within the next 20 seconds, a fire will break out somewhere in the United States. Lives may be lost, property damaged, homes or buildings destroyed. Yes, there are 4,600 fires in America each day of the year. They kill 11,000 persons and disfigure or severely burn thousands more. By obeying a few simple rules of fire prevention from now on, you and I can protect ourselves and our families from this devastating menace. Rule 1 is an obvious one. Don't smoke in bed or discard lighted cigarettes carelessly. Rule 2, clean out old newspapers, magazines, and other inflammable debris. Rule 3, use only those cleaning fluids which will not burn. And last but not least, be careful with matches. Above all, keep them out of the reach of small children. Remember, it doesn't pay to gamble with fire. The odds are against you every time. Now, Act 2 of The Six-Shooter, starring James Stewart as Britt Ponsett.
Hack was standing on the front porch of Jace Norton's house when I rode in the yard, and there was a woman sitting on a rocking chair talking to him. Her face was dead white, just like all the blood had been drained out of her cheeks. For a minute or so, Hack just stood there nodding, and then he shifted his weight and noticed me out of the corner of one eye.
Come on up, Britt.
Easy, boy, easy. I was just on my way over to Miss Bradley's. I thought...
This is Britt Ponsett, Mrs. Norton.
Ponset.
I'm pleased to meet you, ma'am. I sure hope your husband is...
Jace is dead.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Pipe Clamper murdered him. I seen him do it. I seen it all through the kitchen window.
I'm sorry.
How did it start, Mabel?
They's arguing about some cows that had strayed onto our land. Pipe said Jace was trying to steal them, that he'd fixed our fences so they'd come through. But it wasn't true, Sheriff. It wasn't true.
Sure.
Jace was aiming to take the cows back. He told me at breakfast this morning I've got to run some of Pipe's cattle back to him. That's what Jace said at breakfast this morning. Hadn't had time to do it yet. Been busy with chores and things. Mare was foaling. Jace hadn't had time, but he was going to take him back. He told me so.
No. Don't get yourself all upset, Mabel.
I heard them quarreling out and back, Pipe and Jace. I didn't think nothing of it. Pipe's always quarreling with everybody. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
And the next thing I knew, I heard a shot. I thought Pipe was just trying to scare Jace. Until I saw Jace fall down.
Pipe right off toward his own place?
No. Toward the canyon. Over that way. I remember asking myself, why is Pipe heading toward the canyon? His ranch is the other way. It just hadn't dawned on me yet. What he'd done, that he was running away.
Yes. Well, it's turning chilly. You better go inside now, Mabel.
Yeah?
Doc Anderson is sending somebody out to fix supper and stay with you tonight.
You'll find Pipe, Sheriff. You'll find him. Bring him back.
Sure, I'll find him. You want me to help you up?
I can manage.
Here we are. That's there.
I'm pleased to have met you, Mr. Ponset.
Thank you, ma'am.
I've heard of you, haven't I?
He's the six-shooter, Mabel.
Six-shooter?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course, that's why. I'm glad you're here, Mr. Ponset. I'm glad you're going with the sheriff. I wouldn't want Pipe to kill somebody else. Even if he wasn't punished for what he did to Jace. I wouldn't want there to be another killing. I'm glad you're going with the sheriff.
Well, looks like I've got me a deputy after all.
Well, Buzz was willing to come. Heck, he wanted to.
I'd rather have you, Britt. Let's go.
Well, we picked up Pipe Clamper's trail about sundown. At least it was the only fresh trail heading toward the canyon, so we figured Pipe had made it. The next couple of hours was pretty dark, so we had to move slow, keeping our eyes glued to the ground. Then along about 8 o'clock, the moon came out, and we could make better time. We were in the canyon now. The way the hoof marks were spaced, we could tell that Pipe's horse was getting tired, and Pipe had to be forced to ride a little easier.
Looks like we might be gaining on him, Britt.
Yeah. Any place around here he could hole up?
There's an old trading post about a mile ahead. Been deserted since the Indians moved south. He could be there. Britt.
Yeah?
Maybe you think it's funny I wanted you to go along with me tonight, but... Oh, it's not that I couldn't bring Pipe Clamper in alone, but there's more to it than that. It's when we get back to town. That's when I'll need you.
Oh?
Yeah, you see, Jason Norton was a well-liked man. He lived in Quiet City, practically from the very beginning. Everybody knew him. Everybody liked him. Yeah. But nobody has any use for Pipe Clamper. Like I told you, some fellows are just mean. And Pipe's one of them. Anyway, what I'm getting at is this. Jace has a brother, Abe Norton. And he'll be fighting mad when he finds out what happened today. He'll be killing mad. And the whole town will go along with him.
Mm-hmm. You mean they might try and lynch Pipe? Huh?
They'll try.
Well, you can't be certain of that, Hank.
I know the town, Britt. There hasn't been any trouble for 2 years. And that's a long time. A lot of pressure builds up in 2 years. Now, Jace's murder, that'll set folks off. I hope you'll be willing to give me a hand.
Well, you know I'll do what I can, Hank.
It's him, Britt. He's up there behind the tree.
Well, the bullet smashed into Heck's leg and tore him right out of the saddle. I dived off Scar and took cover behind a rock. There was a clump of trees hanging to the side of the canyon about 100 yards ahead. I could make out something that looked like a building with a carved totem pole out in front of it. I figured that was the trading post Heck had been telling us about, but the shots weren't coming from inside. Whoever was firing was using the Indian post for a shield. You all right, Heck?
It's just my leg, Britt. Afraid I can't move it, though.
I'll get over to you.
No. You stay where you are. I'm out of his range. There's a tree between me and him. But it looks like you'll have to take him, Britt. I said I wouldn't need you till we got back to town, but it looks like...
It sounded like Heck had passed out. I raised my head up to the edge of the boulder. When I couldn't see Heck, there was a great big fir tree right in front of him. Well, that meant Pipe Clamper couldn't see him either. He sure could see me, though. That moonlight was just pouring down on that rock where I was hiding, and if I so much as moved, I was right in plain sight. I waited a couple minutes. I hadn't done any firing yet. Maybe he'd think I was hit. Maybe he'd come over after me. Yeah, that was my best chance. I listened hard. I couldn't hear anything. He was still behind that totem pole, still playing it safe. As long as the moon kept me pinpointed, I looked up in the sky just in time to see a great big cloud float toward the orange circle over my head. A great big white cloud, big enough to give me a minute of dark. It was still moving, sweeping across the stars now. And then it hit the edge of the moon. I swung out from behind the rock and I headed toward the trees between me and the trading post. Pipe heard me all right. Not in time, though. Not until I was up beside one of the trees, about 30 yards from where he was waiting. And the sky was beginning to whiten up now, and I saw Pipe's arm inching around the edge of the totem pole. I knew a slug in his arm wasn't going to be enough. I pushed up on my haunches, and I ran forward. He raised his gun, ready to get off another shot. I twisted to one side and let fire. His shot was close, but he missed me. Well, I hadn't done much better. I crawled along, keeping myself as flat as I could, moving real slow. Not more than a foot every 2 or 3 minutes, and straining my ears, trying to hear him breathe. He was only about 10 feet away now. And there weren't any more trees between us, just open space. I pressed my belly down into the dirt. My gun just poking up just an inch or so. Just enough so that... And then I saw his gun. A little beam of moonlight bounced off the barrel. And I saw the shadow of his head easing across the ground beside that totem pole. Drop it, Pipe. What? Now get in your feet. He stood up. His face came into the moonlight, and he took a step forward. And then his left hand jerked out toward me. My bullet hit his shoulder and spun him around, and he crashed into the totem pole. And for a second, I thought it was going to topple over with him, but it held firm.
What? Britt.
Good morning, Hank.
Morning.
It's almost noon, as a matter of fact. Doc Anderson said you ought to be coming to about now.
My leg?
No, it's going to be all right. It'll be all right. Doc says for you just not to fuss about it. It'll be all right.
Thanks for bringing me home, Britt. I don't know how you managed, but...
Oh, Pa. How you feeling?
Fine, Buzz. Just first rate. I see you didn't leave town.
Nope, didn't leave.
And I guess maybe what Pipe done wasn't all of the bad. Not if it brung you to your senses. It's something anyhow. You killed him, huh, Britt?
No. He's kind of worse for wear, but He'll be patched up in time for a trial.
Well, where is he?
The doc's looking after him.
You mean he ain't in jail? You mean nobody's guarding him but Doc Anderson?
Well, we weren't very worried about him running off.
That ain't what I'm talking about. Britt, I told you what had happened. I told you what Jace Norton's brother would do.
Oh, that. Well, you see, Heck, Abe Norton's already been around. He's gone back to his ranch now.
Gone back?
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, folks just wouldn't pay any attention to him. Sure, they all feel real bad about Jace, like you said they would, and they all think that Pipe deserves a hanging, but they're pretty convinced that's what the judge will give him.
The judge? But that don't make sense.
Well, that's the truth, Pa. Everybody's satisfied that there'll be a fair trial and that Pipe will get what's coming to him.
Why, in the old days, they wouldn't have stood still for not for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess these aren't the old days.
Then Buzz was right. That talk about Quiet City being civilized?
Don't fret yourself about it now, Pa.
Oh, it just don't seem possible. This ain't the same town. These folks ain't the same. What happened to him, Brett?
Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe a town grows up just like a person, Hank. And I guess maybe you had something to do with it, too.
Me?
Mm-hmm. You see, somebody taught him to respect the law and to try to live up to it. And if it wasn't you, I sure don't know who it was. Well, Buzz stayed around Quiet City until Heck was on his feet again. And then Heck himself sent the boy east to college. That was, 3-4 years ago again. The last time I was through that way, Buzz had come home. You see, Buzz was running for county attorney. Yes, and the way Heck was managing his campaign, well, if that election didn't turn out to be a landslide, I sure missed my guess.
Until recent years, misconceptions prompted many to feel that a diagnosis of heart disease was a death sentence. But today, thanks to medical science and the educational work of your Heart Association, we are learning that most people with heart disease can work and lead happy lives. But the real answer to heart disease lies in heart research and community heart programs, which can be expanded through your continued support of the Heart Fund. This is not only Valentine's Day, but it's Heart Sunday. So make it a point to give to your local Heart Association now. And remember, when you help your Heart Fund, you help your heart. The Six Shooter is a transcribed NBC Radio Network production in association with Review Productions. It is based on a character created by Frank Burt and is written by him. Mr. Stewart may currently be seen in the Universal International picture The Glenn Miller Story. Others in the cast were Virginia Gregg, Robert Griffin, Lamont Johnson, and Will Wright. Special music for this program was by Basil Adlam, and the entire production is under the direction of Jack Johnstone. All characters and incidents were fictitious, and any resemblance to actual characters or incidents is purely coincidental. Oh, by the way, you'll be interested in knowing that the Six Shooter has been chosen for broadcast to our men overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Services. This is John Wall speaking. Listen to Jan Murray in Sunday at Home on the NBC Radio Network.
70 years ago, February 14th, 1954, the Six Shooter here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We head to Dodge City, Kansas next for an episode of Gunsmoke starring William Conrad. That'll be up next.
Everyone who works for a living knows that illness or injury may keep them from earning a living. Today, more than 9 out of 10 American workers are covered by Social Security, and each one should know that if he becomes severely disabled, he and his family may be eligible for monthly Social Security disability payments. More than 1 million people are now receiving benefits each month under this program. For more information about Social Security disability benefits, write to Social Security, Department 15, Hollywood 28, California, and ask for a free copy of Booklet 29 called If You Become Disabled.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Wednesday, Valentine's Day, we head to Dodge City, Kansas. William Conrad stars as Marshal Matt Dillon in this episode of Gunsmoke 71 years ago, February 14th, 1953.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Is he heavy, Matt?
Oh, somehow it was easier carrying him up to your office and back down, Doc.
Where are you going to put me, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, well, on the couch here, I guess. You be all right there, Chester?
Oh, yes, sir. This'll be fine.
Good.
I'm sure sorry I'm so much trouble.
Chester, next time, try to land on just one foot. Even if you break a leg.
I know.
A man's in a terrible fix when he sprains both ankles.
He sure is, Doc. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I know what you're going to do. You're going to stay right there on that couch, and you're going to sleep there, too. Maybe Doc and I'll bring you in something to eat every day or two.
Oh, no.
It's better than you deserve.
I know. I've been saying over and over to myself, Chester, you fool, you.
Well, the wage is a sin, Chester. You were lucky to get off as easy as you did. The way I heard it.
Come on, Chester. Tell us what really happened, huh?
But I did tell you. I was looking out this second-story window, admiring the view, so to speak. And the next thing I knew, I fell. That's all right onto the street.
He didn't say whose window, Chester?
In Texas, Doctor, a gentleman don't mention such things.
You ain't in Texas.
Well, sometimes I wish I'd never left.
Like now?
Yes, like now. Many a reputation's been ruined by just such loose talk that you're making, Doc.
Never mind Doc, Chester. He's jealous, that's all.
Oh, jealous? Putting tracks in a man's yard? Not me. Not by a long shot. Why, no, sirree.
Good morning, Marshal.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Well, there's Chester. Heard about you, Chester. I heard.
Never mind what you heard, Torp. Chester just got thrown from a horse, that's all.
Yeah.
All right. What is it you want here, gentlemen?
Yeah. All right, you tell him, Summers.
Well, Marshal, it's about tomorrow night.
Oh? Oh, what about tomorrow night?
Well, you know, it's the Roundup. The sale season's over. There'll be 1,000 cowboys celebrating in Dodge.
Well, they always do at the end of the season. What about it?
Well, there's going to be more of them this year, and there'll be a lot of homesteaders in town, too. It's going to be worse than ever.
Well, I expect that.
There could be a lot of trouble, Marshal.
Yeah, there could be, Summers. Just what is it you want?
Well, we've talked it over, and we want you to get a lot of good, tough men together, maybe about 20 of them, and deputize them. That way, there won't be any trouble.
Yeah. That's what you want, is it?
Yes, we do.
Look, Summers, my job's to keep the peace around here, and I'm going to do it, but I'll do it in my own way.
Oh, I know, Marshal.
Now, you turn 20 deputies loose in that crowd looking for trouble, and they're going to find it. As soon as the wild ones heard about it, they'd bunch up and shoot it out with every one of them. Why, it'd turn into the worst slaughter Dodge's ever seen. I think that's about the most fool idea I ever heard of.
Yeah, no reason for you to talk like that, Marshal. I think it's a good idea. I sure don't want my place wrecked just 'cause you're mule-headed.
You're a gambler, Torp.
So
you can take your chances along with everybody else. Now, if you don't want that, then close your place up tomorrow night.
I'll lose all that Texas money? That's not likely.
Now, we're not all gamblers, Marshal. They can wreck my dry goods store just as fast as a gambling house once they get started. And it's up to you.
That's right. It is up to me. And we're going to leave it that way.
Then you won't do anything.
I'll do everything I can.
I don't know, Marshal.
Look, Summers, I know you've got your doubts about me. That's natural. Some people think I'm too lax with Front Street. Some think I'm too severe. But that's the way of it in any town. If a peace officer does his job well, he pleases nobody.
Marshal, we didn't come here for a lecture.
What did you come for, Torp? Maybe you had in mind to help me pick out those deputies. Is that it?
A matter of fact, I could, Marshal.
Yeah, sure. In a couple of hours, yours would be the only tables open for play.
No, that's not what
It's been done before, Torp.
Is that true, Torp?
We're not going to take his word for anything, are you?
I don't know. But anyway, he won't listen to us, so it's his responsibility. Come on, men, let's get out of here. I hope you can handle it, Marshal.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
That Torp is no good. He is just plain no good, Mr. Dillon.
Well, now, I know one man that got skinned at his place, and Torp gave him back $20 so as he wouldn't be broke.
Oh? Just how much did this man lose, Doc?
Oh, well, $500-600, they said. And then he... Oh, yeah, I see what you mean, man.
I'm sure not going to be much good to you tomorrow night, Mr. Dillon.
You can watch the jail right here, Chester.
I know, but you just got to get somebody to help you out on the street. At least one man, anyway. You can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah, by tomorrow night, Dodge will be overrun with trail boys and homesteaders, all looking for satisfaction. No, I wouldn't ask any man to face that.
I know a few fellows who'd do it, and so do you, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't ask anybody.
How many were killed last year, man?
I don't remember, Doc.
Well, I do. 6, that's what. We buried them all in the saddle blankets, all except one. I remember he didn't even own a blanket.
Well, then he was sure out of luck all the way around, wasn't he? Come on, Doc, let's go get some dinner. Huh?
All right. We'll bring you a piece of bread, Chester. Maybe.
I want a steak. Rare.
How come you're so hungry, Chester? Were you in such a hurry to get over there last night you didn't take time for supper?
Mr. Dillon, I will answer no more questions about last night, and that is final.
Well, we'll bring you something.
Yeah, I don't know if we should, though, man. A man can think about his sins better on an empty stomach.
Close the door, will you?
The next morning, I had Mr. Hightower print up some signs for me with a few rules that I made up for the Roundup. They were fair and reasonable, and I hoped they'd be accepted without question. The principal restrictions were that there was to be no shooting and no reckless riding in the streets. That afternoon, I went from saloon to saloon and left a sign at each one. The Texas Trail was my last stop, and there I sat down with Kitty for a short beer.
Town's beginning to fill up, Matt.
Yeah, it'll be swamped to the dashboard by dark.
You, expect trouble tonight?
I always expect trouble, Kitty.
Yeah, I know. Matt, I heard something.
Yeah?
I heard Torp and a few of his men cut cards last night.
So?
I don't know who it came out for, but Low Man is supposed to kill you.
Oh. When?
Tonight, I suppose. Why's Torp after you, Matt?
Torp says he wants an open town, Kitty. But what he's really after is somebody who'll close down every game but his.
Who's this, Matt?
What?
Rough-looking traveler headed this way.
But... What? Well, I'll be. Why, it's Zell Matlock.
Matt,
Zell!
you old
Badger, how are you?
Zell, it's been a long time.
Hey,
a long time. Here,
man.
come on over here. Sit down.
Sure.
I'd like for you to meet Kitty. Kitty, this is Zell Matlock. This is Kitty.
Glad to know you, man. Just rode into Dodge an hour ago.
Yeah, it's your first time in it, Zell. Hey, would you like a beer? Huh?
Don't mind.
Good.
I aimed to get drunk tonight, but before I got started, I thought I'd look up the peace officer and shoot him. I'd be sure to tangle with him before the night's out. I always figure it's safer to do it sober, so...
He half means that, Kitty.
So I asked around and found out the man's name is Matt Dillon, the United States Marshal. I've seen it all now.
Well, I hope you're not disappointed.
I'll tell you, Miss Kitty, I knew Matt Dillon before he got civilized. Why, we had to tie his leg up to give him a haircut when he came to town.
Don't you believe a word that he says, Kitty.
Yeah, the wilder the coat, the better the horse, Matt. Mm-hmm. But you was all right. The only trouble with you was that fool honest streak you always had.
Are you rich now, Zell?
Ah, nobody's rich on the Mexican border. Land of sunshine and pinto beans. I hired out to a general over in Chihuahua 3 years ago. I lost 20 pounds and was lucky to get back at all.
Well, haven't you learned to stay out of Mexico yet?
No, I met the man he wanted me to shoot and turned out to be a better fellow than the general. So I told him I'd been hired to kill him and then rode for the border. The general lost 3 soldiers who tried to stop me from swimming the Rio Bravo.
You must be pretty handy with a gun, Zell.
Just fair, ma'am. But when I take my gun out, I go right ahead and use it. Some people stop and think for half a second.
There's a roundup in Dodge tonight. Matt's handling it alone.
Kitty, what?
Yeah, no, hold it, man. I heard about it. I heard all about it, and that's why I'm here. To say hello and sign on for a night's pleasure. Give me a star, Matt. I've killed on the side of the law before.
I don't believe that, and anyway, I don't want any killings here.
No, I was joshing you, Matt. I know what you want. It's true. I was sheriff in Tascosa for 6 months.
You what?
Yeah, it's in the record. Well, they caught up with me there, but I'd already done such a good job taming the place that the governor pardoned me. I won't kill anybody tonight that don't need killing.
All right. I believe you, Zell. But I won't ask any man to come in when it's as rough as this roundup may be.
Well, you didn't ask me. Any other objection?
Well, the men don't know you around here, Zell. No telling how they'd take to a stranger.
First night I ran Tascosa, nobody knew me either. I'm not green at this business.
Yeah, but
Matt.
It's my job. Why should you get mixed up in it?
Well, I also heard somebody's planning a party for you tonight.
Oh, you did, huh?
I've owed you something for a long time, Matt.
Oh, that's got nothing to do with it.
It has. You got no right not to let me pay it back a little. Now, there's a chance to.
Yeah, you're just as crazy as you ever were.
That's better. Well, come on, let's go find me a badge before it gets dark. Sure nice to have met you, Miss Kitty.
Well, good luck, Zell. I'll see you later, Matt.
Yeah, sure. So long, Kitty.
You sure been a long time coming to Dodge, Mr. Matlock.
What do you mean, Chester?
Well, I've heard Mr. Dillon mention you a lot, but the way he talked, I wasn't never sure you were still alive.
Oh.
Well, I was never sure either, Chester. You know, Zell isn't the most cautious man I ever knew.
You think being a U.S. Marshal isn't asking for an early grave, man?
Oh, maybe. But at least it's a way to do some good before you die. Whether folks think so or not.
You know, men like Torp, that's all.
Oh, no, Chester. Even good men have got a strange twist that makes them suspect any man paid to handle the bad element. You just can't help thinking that some of its dirt is rubbed off on him.
And I never thought about that before, Matt. Sure how it was in Tascosa. They wanted me there all right, but they wanted me to keep my distance, too. It makes a man kind of lonely.
They just don't know what's good for him, that's all. Instead of a real lawman, they'd rather hire some killer with a lot of notches carved on his gun.
Well, there are plenty of them around.
You sure are. Bragging kind. I never did like a man who has to notch his gun to keep his courage up.
Yeah. My goodness. Look yonder. The street's about full already, and it isn't even dark yet.
Yeah. Zell, give me a hand here, will you? We'll move Chester's couch away from the window there.
All right.
There, that should do it. Yeah, you'll be safer here, Chester, in case somebody gets it in mind to shoot up the jail.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. I can watch both doors from here. Just hand me my gun belt, if you will.
Oh, yeah. There you are. Well, come on, Zell. Chester, I'll get somebody at the Dodge House to fetch up some supper, huh?
Thank you, sir. And good luck, both of you.
So long,
I see you, Chester. How will we work it, Matt?
I tell you, Zell, you take this side of the street. I'm going up to the Dodge House, and then I'll be on the other side somewhere.
All right. Oh, say, you mind if I go back later and get that Spencer carbine of yours? Make a mighty handy club if I don't have to use it any other way.
Sure, Zell.
Who they got there? That fella on their shoulders.
Oh, that's Mr. Hightower. He runs the printing press here.
Shall we stop it?
Oh, no. They're just carrying him into the Longhorn to make him stand some drinks.
Oh.
They like Hightower. They won't hurt him.
Well, I guess that sort of officially opens this here roundup, huh?
Yeah, I guess it does. Well, I'll leave you here, Zell.
Yeah, sure, man.
And, Zell, I want to thank you for what you're doing tonight.
I ain't done nothing yet, but I'll do plenty if someone shoots you in the back. I can promise that.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you later.
Sure, Matt.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, Sunday nights, you are cordially invited to Escape via CBS Radio. Yes, every weekend for drama that will take you right out of this world. Listen for Escape at the Star's address. Also, tomorrow evening, CBS Radio brings you Lionel Barrymore on your Sunday night playhouse. Now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
When I came out of the Dodge House, Front Street was so full that if anybody had been shot, the crowd would have carried him along like one of the living. I had a feeling that the word was out about Torp and his bunch cutting cards to see who'd make a try for me, and that the crowd knew it and was waiting for it. I stood for a while with my back against Summers' dry goods store. Then I left the street and cut down an alley, thinking to change my position with as much irregularity as possible. I was passing the back door of the Texas Trail when I heard the first shot of the night. I entered the saloon from the rear and made my way into the crowd.
It's all right, Marshal. There's no fight.
It's not all right, Sam. I made a rule that there'd be no shooting for any reason. All right. Who fired that shot?
Oh, it's outside. Nobody fired in here. It was Torp, Marshal. He just took a shot at the moon, that's all.
Yeah. All right, Torp. Put the gun away and come over here.
I'm bothering nobody, Marshal, excepting maybe you. Stand back, everybody.
I said that's enough, Torp.
No, it ain't, Dillon. This time I got the jump on you. You ain't pushing me no more.
Torp's bullet just grazed my arm. Then I put one in his head and another in his chest. And at the same time, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure with a gun in each hand move out of the shadow of the alley and turn toward me on the boardwalk. And without really looking, I dropped him with one shot. And then I faced the crowd and waited for the next move. But for some reason, none came.
Marshal?
Yes, Summers.
That man you just shot, Marshal.
Torp got what he deserved.
Yes, I know. It's the other one that
So did he.
Marshal, you'd better go take a look at that man. He's dying.
Who is he?
I don't know him, Marshal, but you do.
What?
He's wearing a star.
No. Oh, Zell. Zell.
Matt, I think that did it.
No, Zell. No.
It's my fault. I crossed the street a while back. Left the carbine with Chester. It's no fault of yours.
Matt? Oh, there you are. Oh, Matt. How is he? Oh, goodness.
No use, Doc. Thanks.
Zell, I
Now, listen. Listen to me, Matt. You did right. The only thing you could do. It was my fault. I shouldn't have crossed over and come up behind you. Anyway, Matt, I ain't been living on my own time ever since that day you pulled me out of the mob in Alamogordo. I never thanked you for that. Guess I never will. Now, Matt, so long.
I'll find someone to carry him over to your office, Matt.
No. I'll carry him.
Never mind them, Matt. They're just windbags.
Mr. Dillon, what happened? I heard the shooting.
Put a blanket on the floor there, Doc.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, spread it. All right. Yeah. He's dead, Chester.
Well, who shot him, sir?
I shot him, Chester. I didn't know it was him.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dillon.
It sounds like they're gonna hoorah the town after all, Matt.
Sure does.
No, they're not.
It's gonna be kind of hard to stop now, isn't it, Matt?
Maybe.
You taking a shotgun, Mr. Dillon?
Matt, why don't you just let them fight each other?
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna close Front Street.
You're gonna close? Oh, no,
The
what?
party's over in Dodge.
Mr. Dillon, you can't do that.
There'll be trouble if I don't. The mob's tasted blood now.
They'll shoot you sure as I'm a-laying here.
Will they?
All right, I can't stop you, but I sure do wish I could go with you.
Yeah, Matt, I'll go. Maybe if they see me, they won't be so quick.
Thanks, but this isn't your job, either one of you, but thanks. Sam.
Yeah, Marshal?
Close up and turn out your lights.
What?
You heard me! Now listen to me! Front Street's closed. Now get out of here and go home, all of you.
My home is in Texas, mister.
If you ever had one.
I ain't going home tonight. Not tonight, I ain't.
Don't interfere, fella. You got no chips in this deal.
I could buy in, mister.
Now I'll use this shotgun for what it was meant on the next man. Well? All right, Sam, close it up.
Yes, sir.
Jack.
Yes? What do you want, Marshal?
The street's closed. Put out your lights.
Huh?
You heard me. Lock the place up.
No, I ain't gonna do it.
Now, don't tell me what you're gonna do.
All right, boys. We're closing up.
What do you mean?
That took care of the Texas Trail and the Longhorn. And I moved on through the Oasis and the Olafraganza, then to the smaller bars that infested the outskirts of town. When I came back up Front Street, the crowd had thinned, its fever broken. I'd left Torp's place for the last, thinking to give his men a chance to get out of town before they faced me. It was a gambling hall on the same side of the street as the jail. And when I reached it and entered, there weren't more than a dozen men there. And most of them stepped quietly past me out into the street. What was left didn't seem to count for much.
Looking for somebody, Marshal?
You a friend of Torp's?
Well, yes, I was. Why?
Who else here worked for Torp?
Everyone's gone, Marshal. They heard you were all riled up and they left.
And you're alone. And still in bad company.
I wouldn't ordinarily take that.
Well, go ahead, mister. You're calling it.
No. Not now.
What's stopping you? Oh, if it's the shotgun. Now, does that make it easier for you?
I haven't been looking for you, Marshal.
You were in on the cut, weren't you?
Torp's dead, Marshal. Isn't that enough?
Torp! Mister, one of the best men I ever knew died tonight. And I killed him.
I'm not a gunman, Marshal. You wouldn't be proud killing me.
What does a man like you know about pride? Now, you get out of Dodge, and you get out fast.
But I don't...
You want to die in this place right now?
No, I'm leaving.
All right, hurry. The rest of the night, I walked the dark, empty street alone. And just before dawn, I got a spring wagon and loaded Zell onto it. A couple of hours later, I buried him out by the Arkansas in a little grove of cottonwoods. Maybe I should have put a marker on his grave, but I didn't. What I did instead, I did partly out of scorn for the kind of men Zell said have to notch their guns to keep their courage up. And partly as a kind of a cross that I'd bear from now on. So instead of a marker on his grave, I took out my gun. And I cut a single notch on it.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Dehner and Harry Bartell, with Lawrence Dobkin, Lou Krugman, and James Nusser. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Listen to CBS Radio for Spring Byington as December Bride. And say, after you hear December Bride tomorrow night, listen for the important announcement about its new night and time on CBS Radio. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, Amos and Andy are here every Sunday on the CBS Radio Network.
One of the things about William Conrad and the way they portrayed Matt Dillon is that he was really human and didn't like a lot of what he had to do as a sheriff. But he did it, and he took care of people, and he upheld the law. 71 years ago, February 14th, 1953, Gunsmoke here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and I insist, and a number of you agree, that the radio show gives a lot more than the television show does. A lot more authentic, a lot less Hollywood. And the TV show tried to do grit, but didn't do it very well. And one of the things is a lot of the shots were done out in California, which was not the same territory that Kansas was. I mean, even in Dodge City, which was getting close to the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it didn't look like that. And, you know, having lived there, I know what it looked like. I have to really tell you, William Conrad, Howard McNear, they all did such a wonderful job. Georgia Ellis's Kitty, and it was just a great show. It really was. The radio show was outstanding. No shade on the characters that did Gunsmoke. But I have to tell you that I think there was more authenticity in the radio show. My opinions, you're entitled to yours. You want to complain? Go to classicradio.stream. You'll see our contact information, our Facebook links there, all of that, where you can comment if you're so inclined. Tomorrow we'll get back to a 2.5 hours of crime with Dragnet, Big Town, Escape, The Lives of Harry Lime, starring Orson Welles, a favorite of some of you, and The Lineup. An interesting show there, and we'll talk about that tomorrow here on Classic Radio Theater on Thursday. Right now, though, coming up next, we will head to San Francisco. And John Dehner starring in Have Gun Will Travel. That's next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Not all careless drivers have accidents, but many such careless drivers cause accidents. A woman driver who drives slowly down Main Street while doing a little window shopping is a menace. So is the man who insists on telling the people in the back seat of his car about his poker game last week. It's no wonder that ordinarily cautious drivers start to lose their tempers and take dangerous chances to pass these careless drivers. When an accident results, the person who caused the accident probably won't even be touched. So the National Safety Council says if you want to window shop, get out and walk. If you are too busy describing one of your sterling feats to pay any attention to traffic, get out and walk. The driver's license you have does not give you the right to endanger the lives of your passengers or other human beings. Driving can be dangerous. Keep your mind on what you're doing, or walk.
Pay attention to the road is what he's basically saying. Alrighty, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. By the way, some of you get upset that I talk so much. And some days I'll talk a lot and some days I won't. But, you know, some of you come here for the commentary and the insight I bring to these old shows. And it really is. It's like the show that's coming up here, Have Gun Will Travel, that moved from television to radio. And it's a totally different presentation of Paladin. And the television show didn't really captivate me. No shade on Richard Boone, who played Paladin on TV. But I definitely like the John Dehner take on Paladin. And this show actually had a conclusion, which the TV show did not. Have Gun Will Travel, this episode 64 years ago, February 14th, 1960. By the way, a shout out to Ted over at RadioMemories.com. He didn't provide us these shows, but we got them from him. We purchased the shows from him. And he did a great job on restoration, as he does. You know, one of the great things is that, you know, I know a lot of you like the authentic feel of the old shows with the scratchiness and the poppiness, but I like shows that are restored and sound good so I don't have to struggle to listen so much. It makes the experience much more enjoyable. So that's why I try to bring out shows that actually sound good. 64 years ago, February 14th, 1960, Have Gun Will Travel, John Dehner, and the Dollhouse in Diamond Springs.
You've asked me to kill you. I'm not an executioner, Lormer. I've been hired to take you back alive.
Have Gun, Will Travel. Starring Mr. John Dehner as Paladin. San Francisco, 1875. The Carlton Hotel, headquarters of the man called Paladin.
Yeah, who is it?
It's me, Mr. Paladin. Hey, boy.
Oh, come in.
Oh, very sorry to wake you so early, Mr. Paladin, but telegram come for you.
Yeah. Well, they always come early after a late night. Let's see then.
Whoa, that was very late night you had last night.
Yes, it was.
Yes, no good to stay up until daybreak.
Sometimes it can be very interesting.
Oh, but you need sleep.
Well, it looks like I won't get any more sleep today. This telegram says the sheriff of Little Spring wants me there tonight.
Sheriff? You will do something wrong in Little Spring?
No, hardly. I've never even been there. He wants to hire me for $3,000.
Oh, 3,000? Hey, you can make it?
Hey, boy, at those prices, I'd saddle an eagle to get there.
If you're suffering from a cold, medical authorities advise, whenever possible, go to bed when you first feel a cold coming on. Keep comfortably warm and protected from direct drafts and changing temperatures. Drink plenty of liquids, water, soups, milk, and fruit juices. And here's another important health tip. When you have a cold and need a laxative, that's the time to rely on gentle X-Lax. Pleasant-tasting, chocolated X-Lax helps you toward your normal regularity, gently overnight. X-Lax works where nature wants, in the lower tract, not the stomach. Taken at bedtime, X-Lax gives you the closest thing to natural action the next morning, without upset, without discomfort. And X-Lax is so effective, it continues to help. Seldom, if ever, do you need to take it again the next day. So when you have a cold, and suffer constipation too, take X-Lax, a medicine you can use with complete confidence. X-Lax helps you toward your normal regularity, gently, overnight. X-Lax.
As I'd got off the stage, the first thing I noticed about Little Spring was the saloon. More of a gambling casino than a saloon. It was the size of a city block, and it blared and blazed in the twilight. The town had the other things a California town is supposed to have: a general store, livery stable, a sheriff's office, and a small church pushed off in the background. I'm sure no one heard the church chimes sound the hour against the din from the casino. The sheriff's office was empty, so I pushed my way into the saloon. Say, is the sheriff here?
What do you have?
No. Is the sheriff here?
Over there. Fat fellow, white mustache. At the table with those three men.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Excuse me, lady. Thank you. Sheriff Akers?
Yeah?
My name is Paladin.
Paladin? Well, glad you could make it. Let's go in the back room where we can hear ourselves talk.
Yeah. All right.
All right, in here.
Thank you.
According to what I hear, you're the best man I could have hired.
What do you want me to do, Sheriff?
I want you to find a Fred Lormer for me. He killed a man.
Well, you're a lawman. Why don't you go after him?
Oh, by this time, he's over the state line. If I wait for extradition, it'll take too long. I want him back here in Little Spring in 4 days.
4? Well, that's not much time.
I want him here in 4 days, and I want him alive.
You're asking a lot.
I'm paying a lot.
Well, why 4 days?
That's my business. You want the job?
All right, just give me time to think about it.
Listen, Paladin, you're the one man who can bring Lormer in, and I want him back to stand trial here.
Who'd he kill?
I don't think that makes any difference to you.
Well, right now it makes a difference in whether or not I go after him.
All right. Little Spring has a reform group headed by a man named Radford. Lormer killed Radford's son in this saloon Wednesday night. Then he stole the fastest horse in town and headed east. Everybody was either too drunk or too stupid to stop him, but they were all witnesses.
I see. Well, I'll let you know in a couple hours if I take the job.
You're a skeptical man, Paladin.
You can be sure of that, Sheriff. I talked to a dozen witnesses, and the stories were all the same. Radford's 20-year-old son had come into the saloon, and in a loud voice had branded gambling as evil and sinful. Lormer had been at one of the tables, and he shouted at the young man to leave. Radford refused. Lormer walked over to him. There was a slight scuffle, and then Lormer put a bullet through him. Young Radford was unarmed. Satisfied that Sheriff Akers had told me the truth, I accepted the job. In the morning, I bought a ticket for the next stage going east.
Ought to be here in another 10 minutes. Just make yourself to home on that bench over there.
I'll wait outside.
Well, have a good trip.
Thank you.
You, Mr. Paladin?
That's right.
I'm Jim Radford.
Mr. Radford?
Akers brought you down here to find Lormer, didn't he?
Yes.
You going to do it?
I'm going to try.
You'd be doing this town a great injustice. Don't bring him back, Mr. Paladin.
Well, Lormer did kill your son, didn't he?
Yes, but if you catch him, it won't bring my son back.
I've already accepted the job, Mr. Radford.
Mr. Paladin, I head a reform group in Little Spring. We've been fighting Akers for years. Now, there's going to be an election in 5 days. I'm running against Akers for sheriff. If you bring Lormer back and he hangs for the murder of my son before Election Day, Akers can point to the hanging and the people of this town will forget what went on before.
And Akers will be reelected?
Yes. You can see what kind of town he's running. But for the first time, the people have a chance to drive him and his crowd out of control and turn Little Spring into a decent community.
Well, that may be true, Mr. Radford, but I'm convinced that Lormer is a murderer, and I intend to bring him back in 4 days, alive.
If you do, I'll kill him before Akers can get near him.
Now, Mr. Radford, that would be a foolish thing to do. Then you could be hanged for murder.
Nevertheless, the people would understand, and we'd have a clean town again. I'll be waiting for you when you come back.
I'll remember that, Mr. Radford.
Are you smoking more now, but enjoying it less? Have a real cigarette, have a Camel. The best tobacco makes the very best smoke. Have a real cigarette, have a Camel. Are you looking for flavor and mildness? Have a real cigarette, have a Camel. The best tobacco makes the very best smoke. Have a real cigarette, a real cigarette, a real cigarette, have a Camel.
Again, for the 11th straight year, Camel outsold every other cigarette, filter, king size, and regular. The best tobacco makes the best smoke. So if you're smoking more now but enjoying it less, change to Camels. Get more real satisfaction every time. Start to really enjoy smoking again.
Have a real cigarette, a real cigarette, a real cigarette, have a Camel.
I followed Lormer's trail to the Nevada line, and there I rented a horse. The open desert stretched before me, and I knew now that it would be more difficult to find him. The sun was at my back, and my shadow started to creep ahead of me when I saw a small house on the thin line where fertile land gave way to wasteland. There were 2 horses grazing on the tufts of grass between the rocks behind the house. There was a large, inviting well in front. I rode up to the watering trough.
Get away.
Huh?
Get away from here.
What? Put your rifle away, old man.
Get off my land, you hear?
Say, are both those horses yours?
I didn't move out here on the edge of this inferno to have a snooper come along and ask me questions. I told you to get off my land.
Well, I'm looking for a murderer.
I ain't seen no murderer.
You passed this way.
I ain't seen no murderer.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to search the desert, old man. I need water. You have a well.
All right, take your water. But my rifle will be on you till you leave.
I watered my horse and continued east into the desert for almost 10 miles. And then I saw him, silhouetted by the setting sun, a big man stumbling, weaving, before his weight carried him to the ground. I dug my heels into my horse and rode to where he had fallen. You make a big trail, Lormer.
I'll put a bullet
Your
in
running
you.
is over.
I'll
Now we go
put
back, give me
bullet
that
in
gun.
you.
I'll take that gun, you hear me?
Get your hands up.
You won't be needing it now.
I need water. My throat's on fire.
All right. Here.
Let me die here. A nice, clean death.
My job is to bring you back, Lormer.
Sheriff Akers sent you, didn't he? Sheriff Akers will hang me when you bring me back to Little Spring.
You'll stand trial.
Yeah, I'll stand trial. And in less than 20 minutes, they'll have me swinging from the courthouse tree. And the whole town will get drunk and celebrate. And they'll re-elect Sheriff Akers 'cause he brought law and order to Little Spring.
Why did you kill young Radford?
He was a loudmouth preaching kid. Always shooting his mouth off in the saloon. It was bad for business. Akers had a big take from that saloon. He wanted him dead. He told me to kill him, and then he turned on me. But I fooled him. He won't use me anymore. Kill me here and get it over with.
Come on. I want to make that well before the sun burns the skin off our backs.
What well are you talking about?
That house about 10 miles back.
We both gonna ride one horse?
What happened to yours?
Shot at a rattler. He threw me.
Now, you're a big man, Lormer. My horse would never carry the both of us in the heat. All right, you ride and I'll lead him.
It's a hot walk.
I'll manage until we get to that house.
Dandruff bothers most men, most women too. So listen. Today you can get rid of embarrassing dandruff in just 3 minutes. Yes, with Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo. Unsightly dandruff's gone in 3 minutes. It's the quickest, easiest of all leading shampoos. That's not all. Using Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep embarrassing dandruff away. Simply apply in the unique Fitch manner. Before you wet hair, rub in 1 minute. This way, Fitch shampoo penetrates right down to the scalp. Next, add water. Lather 1 minute to wash every trace of dandruff out of your hair. Then rinse 1 minute. All that loosened dandruff goes down the drain. In 3 minutes, with Fitch, 1 rubbing, 1 lathering, 1 rinsing, dandruff's gone. And never forget, gentle Fitch can also leave your hair up to 35% brighter. To get rid of dandruff problems forever, brighten hair too, use Fitch regularly. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today, only 59 cents.
Let me sit down, Paladin. You want to go in the house, go ahead.
Lormer, when I was here before, there were 2 horses out back. Now there are 3. You changed horses here, and when the horse threw you in the desert, he came home. Is that right?
Leave me out here. I ain't got the strength to run away.
All right. I want to see that old man anyway. We need your horse back. Old man, I want to talk to you.
Paladin!
Lormer. Oh, no, you... Hey, Lormer, you... Oh, you fool. Why did you do that?
I was thirsty. The well was so close, I drank too fast.
You idiot.
Oh.
I've got to get you out of the sun now. Come on, try to stand up.
Oh.
Up, come on now.
Yeah.
All right, easy does it. Easy. I'll get you into the house now. All right, come on. Oh, easy. All right, come on now, here. You can lie down here. There. Now, just rest easy now.
You got a short memory. One warning wasn't enough, was it? You come back.
Take your rifle out of my back, old man.
You ain't felt the last of this rifle.
I've got a sick man here.
Is this your murderer?
Yes.
The horse came back this morning. I was expecting you, Fred Lormer.
I didn't want to come back, Uncle. He forced me.
Your uncle? Well, you denied you'd seen him before.
I told you I hadn't seen the murderer. I didn't know Fred was the murderer.
Let me go, Uncle. I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Old man, I've got to bring Lormer back for trial in Little Spring. He killed a man there.
Fred ain't going nowhere. He's not going to hang in some public place. I'm going to kill him and bury him out back of the house. And I'm going to kill you because you know him, you know his crime, and you know he's my nephew.
What makes you judge and jury?
I watched a lot of killing during the war. I watched brother kill brother. What made them judge and jury?
You're confusing peace with war, old man.
Are the men in Little Spring fit to sit in judgment on a Lormer? No. Only a Lormer can judge a Lormer. I renounce civilization, and with it, its laws. Here, I'm the law. Now you turn around, mister. Now, loosen your gun belt and drop it to the floor. Easy now, no tricks. Now, you get up, Fred Lormer.
I can't, Uncle. My stomach.
You will get up and walk. I'll not kill you inside my house. Now, get up. Now, walk. Both of you.
Hey, you give me the gun, old man.
No!
All right, old man. Shooting's over.
Give me back my rifle. Can't you see I only winged him? He ain't dead.
That's a good thing.
I've got to kill him.
There's not going to be any killing here.
No, take him back to the sheriff and let him hang. You are civilization, mister, and I hate you for it.
Oh, this miserable cold and my sinuses.
Haven't you heard about Dristan? Dristan, the amazing 3-layer tablet now bringing real relief from colds, misery, and sinus congestion to millions. Dristan decongestant tablets not only help drain all 8 sinus cavities, critical areas of cold's infection, but circulating through the blood, Dristan's decongestant reaches all congested areas, shrinks all swollen membranes, relieves pressure and pain. An exclusive anti-allergent helps keep breathing passages dry and clear. Pain relievers reduce body aches, fever, and vitamin C helps build body resistance. This is Dristan. Today, Dristan is widely imitated, but the exclusive Dristan formula cannot be duplicated. There's nothing like Dristan. So for real relief from colds, misery, and sinus congestion, accept only Dristan decongestant tablets.
The fight was out of the old man. He sat in a corner of the front room while I bandaged Lormer's arm. He looked neither left nor right and said nothing. By his lack of movement, he seemed to deny our existence. As we moved away from the house, I saw him come out the door and stand on the front porch, a lonely figure. Lormer gave me no more trouble. I persuaded the stage driver to drop us off on the outskirts of Little Spring, and it was 10 o'clock at night when we got into town by way of a back street.
Why are you bringing me here?
This is Radford's house, isn't it?
Yeah, but I still don't...
Never mind, you'll see.
Mr. Paladin. Lormer.
Get inside.
I told you I'd kill him, Paladin.
Don't try it, Radford.
Why are you here?
You have some rope?
Yes?
Well, get it for me so I can tie Lormer up. Then I want you to go and get the sheriff.
The sheriff?
Radford, you had a reform group in this town. I hope you're interested enough in justice to do what I tell you. Bring the sheriff and bring him alone.
All right.
And, Radford, tell him to have $3,000 with him.
Paladin, what's the meaning of this? Why did you bring Lormer here to Radford's house?
This is as good a place as any to pick up a murderer. All right, I've kept my part of the bargain, Sheriff. Lormer's back in Little Spring, alive and on time. Did you bring the money?
Yeah, here it is.
Thank you.
Now, we'll hold trial immediately. I'll call the judge. He'll open the court. All right, Lormer, let's go.
Now, just a minute. Didn't I hear you invite the sheriff to stay for the night, Mr. Radford?
What?
Of course you did. Sheriff, make yourself at home. We'll be here for the night and all day tomorrow. Well, it'll be an honor spending Election Day with the two leading candidates.
Oh, look here,
Of course, you'll have time to go out and vote about 5 minutes before the polls close. You don't feel spending Election Day with a murderer like Lormer will hurt you at the polls, do you, Sheriff Akers?
Why?
Pull down the shades, Mr. Radford, and lock the door.
I hope supper's not spoiled, Jim.
Sorry I'm late, but we're taking inventory. With the nagging backache I've had and sleepless nights it gives me, I'm all dragged out.
You've been complaining of backache long enough. Don't you want to get relief?
Of course. But how?
Try Doan's pills.
Right. Doan's pills are an analgesic and mild diuretic to the kidneys. Nagging backache, also headache, dizziness, and muscular aches and pains, may come on with overexertion, emotional upsets, or everyday stress and strain. Doan's pain-relieving action is often the answer, and they also offer mild diuretic action through the kidneys. So if nagging backache is making you feel worn out, tired, and miserable, with restless, sleepless nights, don't wait. Try Doan's pills, used successfully by millions for over 60 years. See if they don't bring you the same welcome relief. Get Doan's pills today. To save money, buy Doan's big economy size.
Have Gun, Will Travel. Created by Herb Meadow and Sam Rolfe, is produced and directed in Hollywood by Frank Paris and stars John Dehner as Paladin, with Ben Wright as Hayboy and Virginia Gregg as Miss Wong. Tonight's story was specially written for Have Gun, Will Travel by Arthur Lewis. Featured in the cast were Jack Moyles, Vic Perrin, Ralph Moody, and Barney Phillips. This is Hugh Douglas inviting you to join us again next week when CBS Radio presents Have Gun, Will Travel.
"64 years ago, February 14th, 1960, Have Gun Will Travel, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. This is the 14th day of February. This is a Wednesday. It is Valentine's Day, and it's Jack Benny's birthday. As of that, we're going to have two Jack Benny shows for you today. We're going to start off 70 years ago when Jack turned 40. Or did he? We'll see as Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues.
What are your dreams for 10 years from now? Perhaps you'd like to travel abroad. In 10 years, comfortable tourist accommodations will certainly be available. This also applies if your travel plans are along the lines of See America First. If you're wondering how you can be sure of having the money at that time, buy savings bonds. Perhaps you haven't been considering travel. Well, if you've been counting on future leisure time or a college education for your children, a farm or business of your own, a retirement income or a home of your own, the solution is still the same. Buy savings bonds. Purchase them the easy, automatic way, where you work through the payroll savings plan, where you bank through the bond-a-month plan. Savings bonds are profitable. For every $3 invested today, you'll receive $4 when your bonds mature. So buy United States savings bonds through the payroll savings plan or bond-a-month plan. And remember, automatic saving is sure saving.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we've been playing a lot of Jack Benny birthday shows leading up to today, which would have been his 130th birthday. And yet, you know, he would still be 39. He perpetually was. Let's listen to this program, a master copy of the original recording session, as it was, the show was broadcast 70 years ago, February 14th, 1950. Does Jack turn 40?
The Jack Benny program, transcribed and presented by Lucky Strike.
Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strike drinks, fine tobacco, richer tasting, fine tobacco. Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
This is Don Wilson, friends. After all is said and done, the reason you or anybody else smokes a cigarette can be summed up in just one word: enjoyment. And certainly the enjoyment you get depends entirely on the taste of a cigarette. Put it this way, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. Well, the fact of the matter is Lucky's taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Here's why Lucky's taste better. First, they're made of fine tobacco. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Fine, naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco. Second, Lucky's are actually made better. Made round, firm, fully packed, to always draw freely and smoke evenly. Yes, fine tobacco in a better-made cigarette gives you better taste every single time. After all, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. The fact of the matter is Lucky's taste better. You'll know that's true the minute you light up a Lucky. So next time you're shopping for cigarettes, get the carton with the red bullseye, Lucky Strike.
Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
The Lucky Strike program, starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Rochester, Dennis Day, Bob Crosby, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, today, February 14th, is Valentine's Day. It's also the birthday of the star of our show. So here he is, our own little Valentine, Jack Benny.
Thank you. Hello again. This is Jack Benny talking. And, Don, that was very nice of you to remember my birthday. How did you ever think of it?
Well, Jack, a strange thing happened last night. I ate at that Chinese restaurant you recommended.
Uh-huh.
And I broke open one of those rice fortune cakes.
Uh-huh.
And a little paper said, "'Tis better to give than to receive, and Sunday is Jack Benny's birthday."
Well, what did you bring me for a present, Don?
Well, it was too late to go shopping, so I brought you a pocket full of fried rice.
Too late to go shopping. I told you to have lunch there, not dinner. Anyway, Don, I'll take the rice. There's a friend of mine getting married Wednesday.
Jack, you can't throw this rice. It's fried.
So's my friend. It's Remley. Anyway, Don, thanks very much.
Well, anyway, Jack, getting back to your birthday, tell me, how does it feel being a year older?
Don, I don't know. It seems strange to advance another year, but then on the other hand, there's something exciting about reaching 40. Yes, sir. You know?
Jack, you may be 40, but I must say you look much younger.
Well, Don, it's nice of you to say that, but let's face it. My age is beginning to show. A little wrinkle here, a gray hair there. Time marches on. Now let's get on with the program.
Oh, wait a minute, Jack. Before we get into the show, I have a little surprise for you.
A surprise, Don?
Yeah, the whole audience is going to join in. All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jack Benny. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, everybody. Thanks very much.
Wasn't that nice, Jack?
Yes, very nice, Don. But
what?
Well, I was watching one fellow sitting in the front row, and he didn't sing at all. As a matter of fact, he had a frown on his face. And I'm just curious to know why. Oh, Mister.
Me?
Yeah, would you mind coming up here on the stage for a minute?
Okay.
Now, look, Mr.
Fink. F-I-N-Q-U-E, Fink.
Oh, well, Mr. Fink, I'm just curious to know, you were the only one who didn't sing happy birthday to me. Why was that?
Do you sing to me on my birthday?
No, but then how can I? I don't even know when your birthday is.
It's December the 24th, and all you hear people singing is jingle bells, jingle all. Not one word about Fink.
Well, that's too bad. Now, look, Mr. Fink.
F-I-N-Q-U-E.
I know.
That's French.
Yes.
In Paris, it's Finke.
Well, you certainly are. And I don't care what it is. All I want to know is if you've got this chip on your shoulder, why did you come in here in the first place?
Who wanted to come in? I was standing in line for the Amos and Andy show. And some guy come over and he told me they was giving away refrigerators in here.
Giving away refrigerators?
In radio, a program's either got to give you entertainment or a refrigerator. Now, where's my ice box?
You're not getting an ice box, so go sit down.
Okay. 12 programs this week. I still ain't got a stick of furniture.
Keep quiet, please, Mr. Fink. Now, Don, regardless of what just happened, I do appreciate it.
Hello, Don.
Hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you, Mary. It was awfully sweet of you to remember it.
Well, Jack, I must confess that I forgot all about your birthday, but a strange thing happened. Remember at rehearsal yesterday when you said I looked like I was gaining weight?
Yes?
Well, after rehearsal, as I went through the lobby of CBS, I stepped on the scale to weigh myself.
Uh-huh.
And a card came out saying, "You weigh 112 pounds, you're kind to dogs, and tomorrow is Jack Benny's birthday."
No.
Well, I couldn't believe it either, so I put in another penny, and a card came out that said, "Don't stand here all day, you've got shopping to do."
Oh, well, did you do it?
Yes, it'll be delivered to your home.
Oh, good. You know, Mary, it's funny how a person feels on an occasion like this. Gosh, you become 40, and all of a sudden you feel so mature and philosophical.
I know. I read your article in Collier's magazine.
Oh, yes, I wrote that myself. I call it How It Feels to Approach 40.
Say, I saw that issue, Jack. That's the one where they have your picture on the cover holding a big birthday cake.
That's right, Don. And since it came out, I've had so many people calling me to discuss that article.
Well, I wanted to ask you something, too.
How it feels to approach 40?
No, where can I get my hands on a cake like that?
Well, that's just what I expected from a man approaching 50. Around the waist. Believe me. What? Mary, what are we going to say?
Seriously.
What is it, Mary? What are we going to say? What is it, Joni? Or Mary? What are we going to say?
Seriously, Jack, there is something I wanted to ask you.
What is it, Mary?
Well, many years ago you were in vaudeville, weren't you?
Yes.
And many times you were on the same bill with Eddie Cantor.
Yes, I was.
And at that time you and Cantor were the same age, weren't you?
Uh-huh.
Well, Jack, today Eddie Cantor admits that he's over 50. How come you're only 40?
Oh, I don't know. Just lucky, I guess. Anyway, Mary, now that I'm approaching middle age, I'll have to slow down the mad social whirl and cut down my nightlife a little.
Some nightlife. You have a hamburger to drive in, squeeze the waitress's hand, give her a nickel tip, and then run home and dream you're Howard Hughes.
Hey, you're pretty good. Howard Hughes, some joke. Mary, if you were so smart, let me ask you a question. If I was born in 1914, how old would I be today?
Don't answer him, sister. He ain't giving away nothing.
You keep out of this.
Who's that?
Oh, some guy named Fink.
F-I-N-Q-U-E.
I know. Don't pay any attention to him, Mary. There's one in every audience.
By the way, Jack, my mother wanted to send you a birthday card, but she didn't know your address, so she sent it to me.
Oh, your mother, huh? Have you got the card with you?
Yes, I'll read it to you. Congratulations. It's wonderful to... Congratulations. It's wonderful to be 40, Jack. I've been there twice, and I'm coming back.
Say, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, Mama has a wonderful sense of humor.
Yeah. Remember the time she painted an extra toe on your uncle's foot and he thought he had 7? You know, your mother does some... Oh, hello, Dennis. You're just in time for your song.
Oh, I'd have been here sooner, but on the way down I had to stop off at our family doctor's office and punch him in the nose.
You punched your doctor in the nose?
He had it coming. My mother told me what he did.
What?
Well, when I was born, for no reason at all, he slapped me.
Dennis.
And my back was turned, too.
Dennis, never mind that silly talk. Let's have your song.
Okay, Mr. Benny, but first, congratulations on your birthday.
Oh, well, it's awfully sweet of you to remember it, kid.
I never would have thought of it if you hadn't given me that ticket to the burlesque show last night.
Never mind, Dennis.
What'd the burlesque show have to do with it?
Well, a girl came out to do a dance, her bubble broke, and a sign fell out saying, Sunday is Jack Benny's birthday.
Dennis.
You must be popular. What applause you got.
All right.
They whistled and everything. Dennis. What a fuss over a man's birthday.
Look, Dennis, you found out it was my birthday. That's all that matters. Now, come on, let's have your song.
Okay. Gee, when I'm 40, I hope I don't look like him.
What did you say?
Sing, Dennis.
You said it. Now, go ahead. Hold it a minute, Dennis. Come in.
Mr. Benny?
Yes?
Mr. Benny, I'm the head usher here at CBS, and I came in here to tell you that you have 12,000 birthday cards in the lobby.
That many?
Yep, they're not selling. Would you please take them home?
Go ahead and sing, Dennis.
Secret love that lived within the heart of me. All too soon my
secret love became impatient to be free. So I told a friendly star the way that dreamers often do, just how wonderful you are, and why I'm so in love with you. I shouted from the highest hills, even told the golden daffodils. At last my heart's an open book, and my secret love's no secret anymore.
That was Secret Love, sung by Dennis Day. Very good, Dennis. That was wonderful.
Congratulations on your birthday.
Dennis, you congratulated me already. Forget it.
I tried, but I can't get that bubble dancer out of my mind.
Force yourself. Say, Mary.
Well, you know, Mr. Benny, it must be nice to have your birthday come on Valentine's Day.
Yes, kid, but there's only one thing against it.
Yeah?
I mean, so many famous people were born in the month of February. Longfellow, Lincoln, Washington. It makes it hard for me to be outstanding.
I can imagine.
Of course, I don't want you to think for a minute that I'm comparing myself to a man like Washington.
Why not? He wore a wig, too.
Very clever, very clever. Did you make up that joke yourself, Dennis?
Uh-huh.
And you like that type of joke?
Yeah, I thought it was very funny.
Oh, you did? You thought it was funny, huh? Well, excuse me a minute. Hello? Kenny Baker? Come home, all is forgiven. You better watch it, Dennis. Another gag like that, and you'll only have one show. And another thing.
Say, Jack.
Yes, Bob?
Well, look, I didn't want to interrupt anything, but I've got a little present for you from the boys in the band.
Oh, well, this is really too much. To think that the boys in your orchestra would remember my birthday. I mean, with all their other worries and responsibilities.
Well, Remley was the one.
Oh, Remley, huh?
Uh-huh. Funny thing happened. Last night, Frankie was in a bar, and he happened to look up, and he saw a little sign that said, "Tomorrow is Jack Benny's birthday."
Bob, that was written on the ceiling?
No, under the table.
I put it there on purpose. I knew he'd see it.
Anyway, Jack, all the boys chipped in, and they appointed Bagby, the piano player, to go out and buy you a plaque. And they asked me to present it to you. So, Jack, on behalf of the boys in the orchestra, here you are.
Well, that's very nice of them. Gee, it's a fancy plaque, too. Let me read the inscription. To Herman Heffelfinger, champion bowler, Anthracite Miners Tournament. Bob, what's the matter with Bagby? I mean, why would he get me a plaque like that?
Well, you don't have much choice when you deal with a second story man.
Wait, you mean Charlie buys stolen merchandise?
Well, sometimes he buys, sometimes he sells.
I can't understand Bagby. There's so many decent, honest businessmen around. Why does Charlie have to buy from a burglar?
He gives green stamps.
Well, Bob, I'm not accepting a hot plaque.
Yeah, but Jack, if you give it back, the boys will be insulted.
Well, I'm not keeping it.
Bob, I don't like to butt in, but Jack's right about that gift. What's the matter with the boys in the band? Why would they get him a thing like that?
Well, Don, I'm sure that the boys want to do better, but they don't have too much money lately. You know, they've been helping out Sammy.
You mean Sammy the drummer?
Oh, yeah, Jack, he's really down and out. Gosh, he's so broke that he can't even afford a drum to practice on at home.
Gee, that's a shame. I better talk to him.
Oh, not now, Jack. Gee, he brought a 13-year-old son down here today. That's him over there in the wings.
Sammy, the drummer's son? Which one?
The kid on the right, the bald-headed one.
Oh, yes, there is a resemblance. They both have that same reflection. But, Bob, you say the kid's only 13 years old. How can he be completely bald already?
Well, I told you Sammy can't afford a drum to practice on.
Oh, well, I guess I better buy him.
Happy birthday, Mr. Benny.
Huh?
That bubble dancer's driving me nuts.
Dennis, go sit down. Now, let's get on with the program.
Oh, say, Jack, before you go any further, I think it's time for a song by the quartet.
Oh, yes, that's right. Are the sportsmen here?
Yeah. Come on in, fellas. Jack, the boys want to dedicate this number to you on the happy occasion of your birthday because this song's been associated with you for years.
Well, that's very nice, Don.
And, Jack, there's a part in it where you play the violin right at the opening.
Oh, Don, do I have to?
No.
Well, I'm going to. It's my birthday. Now, wait till I get the music stand up here. Say, Bob, can I get a violin from one of the boys in the band?
Well, I don't know about a violin, but Bagby will make you a good deal on a hot Cadillac.
I don't want that. I want a violin.
Well, the boys can get you a genuine Stradivarius next Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah, Heifetz is playing here Wednesday.
Oh. Well, I'll just take what they've got. Larry, let me have your violin, will you? Thanks. What a gang in the orchestra. When they say that Remley is playing a steel guitar, you can take that word either way. Where's that violin? All right, Don, I'm ready. You want me to take the opening, huh? This is my theme song, isn't it? Okay.
You know who.
be the trees that fill the breeze with fragrance that we all like. Oh no, it isn't the breeze, it's Lucky Strike. When we stop to tear and then compare, do we find they are alike? Oh no, there's none can compare with Lucky Strike. Way down in Kentucky, they planted a seed. It grew to a lucky, just to give you all that smoking pleasure. LSMFT, we all agree, it's smooth and so pleasant like. Oh yes, the one smoke for me is Lucky Strike.
That was really swell, boys. Thanks very much. You know, Don, it was so nice of the quartet. Come in.
Telegram for Jack Benny.
Oh, here I am, boy. Yeah. I hear, boy, here's a tip for you.
Oh, boy, $1. A whole $1. Thanks, Mr. Benny.
I wonder who could be sending me a telegram right in the middle. Come in.
Excuse me, Mr. Benny.
What do you want now?
I forgot my bicycle.
You didn't forget it. I bought it. Now, goodbye. I hate when a guy makes a deal and then tries to get out of it. Gee, the telegram's from my sister, Florence.
Oh, what did she say?
She says, Dear Jack, I've been listening to your program, and I thought I should send you this wire immediately. You're not 40 years old today. You're actually... Oh, no. No, this can't be. This is awful.
Well, Jack, how old does your sister say you are today?
39. Oh, my goodness, this is embarrassing. But my sister Florence ought to know. I guess instead of being born in 1914, it was 1915.
Well, Mr. Benny, how could you be born in 1915? You told me that in 1918 you were in the Navy.
Well, of course I was in the Navy. You think I'm a slacker?
Well, how old were you then?
3. That's how old I was.
3? How could you...
Don, don't argue with me. They measured me for a uniform and cut off my curls at the same time.
But, Jack, if you were only 3 years old, how could you possibly get in the Navy?
I owned a battleship, and shut up. Anyway, this thing has got me puzzled. I'm going to call Rochester and have him look at my birth certificate. My sister Florence says I'm 39, and I think I'm 40. I got to find out.
Say, Mabel. What is it, Gertrude? Mr. Benny's line is flashing. Yeah, I wonder what Collier's cover girl wants now. I'll plug in and find out. Yes, Mr. Benny. I'll call your house immediately. He wants I should get him Rochester. Well, be nice to him. You know, today's his birthday. It is? How did you find out? Dial Ulrich 8900. Yeah, but how did Dial. Okay.
Hey,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 1
4:21 and 10 seconds. And today is Jack Benny's birthday. The time is 4:21 and 20 seconds. His shirt size is 15 and a half. The time is...
How do you like that? Imagine Benny having his birthday announced on the telephone. How does he get away with it? He used to be a personal friend of Alexander Graham Bell. See? But with all the advertising, he must be getting a lot of gifts.
I can imagine. What did you send him?
A beautiful calfskin glove.
One glove? Why in the world would you give him only one glove?
That's all he needs. He never takes his right hand out of his pocket.
Very true. Say, Gertrude, can you give me a lift home tonight?
I guess so. What's wrong?
I got another flat tire.
See, you've been having more trouble with that motorcycle.
Yeah.
Operator. Gertrude, get me my home.
I'm trying. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, you ought to know. You helped build it.
Well, thank you, Julius Caesar.
Never mind. Now, please ring my home.
Okay, I'm ringing it.
Smart aleck, Gertrude. She takes you out for dinner once. She thinks she owns you. Oh, well.
Mr. Benny's residence, star of stage, radio, television, and silent pictures.
Rochester, it's me.
Oh, hello, boss.
What took you so long to answer the phone?
Well, today's your birthday, and I was out in the kitchen finishing your cake.
Oh, you baked a cake for me?
Yeah, and you ought to see it, boss. Across the top in whipped cream, I wrote, Happy Birthday.
Oh, that's nice, Rochester.
By the way, how many P's in happy?
2.
Uh-oh.
Oh, so you'll have to add one.
I gotta take one off. I got 3.
Well, look, you can do that later. Now, Rochester, here's why I called you. I don't know what to do. I thought today was my 40th birthday, but I just got a wire from my sister, and she says I'm 39.
Well, don't argue with her, boss. Grab it.
Rochester, I got to be honest with myself. Now, I want you to look at my birth certificate and tell me the date on it.
Your birth certificate?
Yes, do you know where it is?
It's right here on the desk.
What's my birth certificate doing on the desk?
You got it out the other day when you applied for your old age pension.
Oh, I just did that for a gag.
Well, they must be laughing. Your first check came today.
Rochester, stop making things up. Now look at my birth certificate.
I'm looking at it.
Now in the space where it says date of birth, what's there?
A hole.
A hole in the paper?
Yeah, we erased it once too often.
Oh, well, then there's nothing I can do, and I'll have to take my sister's word for it.
I guess so, boss. Your sister must be right.
Yep, I guess I'm 39. Well, goodbye, Rochester.
Goodbye. Oh, say, boss.
What?
Aren't we devils?
You and me?
No, me and your sister.
Yeah, goodbye, Rochester. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the only one who's celebrating a birthday. Last week, more than 3,300,000 scouts and leaders of the Boy Scouts of America had a candle lighting job on their hands. It was the beginning of Boy Scout Week, and these scouts added the 44th candle to their birthday cake. Candles that, through the years, have lighted boyhood's path to manhood, brightening the way with fun and fellowship, and guiding boys to a future of good citizenship. And ladies and gentlemen, today's scouts are tomorrow's citizens. Thank you.
Jack will be back in just a minute. But first, a word to cigarette smokers.
Lucky's taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky's taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, richer tasting. Fine tobacco, Lucky's taste better. Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
You know, you can count on American college students to know a good thing when they see it. A survey made in 1952 of smokers in leading colleges showed that Lucky's were the favorites in those colleges. Well, last year another survey was made. It was nationwide, supervised by college professors and representatives of all students in regular colleges from coast to coast, based on 31,000 actual student interviews. The survey shows that Lucky's lead over all other brands, regular or king size, and by a wide margin. Lucky's better taste was the reason most often given. When you come right down to it, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is,
I have
Lucky's
some every morning
taste
on
better.
cornflakes.
Taste better because they're made of fine tobacco.
Cornflakes and
Lucky
cream
Strike
on the
means
cigarettes.
fine tobacco.
Just
and then Lucky's are made
First
better.
I peel the
So make that next
the
carton
paper
Lucky
of the
Strike,
cigarettes,
the
then I put it
cigarette
on the
that
cornflakes.
tastes better.
Then I have cream on the
Happy,
cornflakes.
go lucky, get better taste today.
Come on, Don. The car's right around the corner. I'll drive you home.
Okay.
You know, Don, that was a pretty good program we just did, but
Hey,
think...
Benny!
Huh? Oh, it's you, Mr. Fink.
Yeah. Hey, don't you know some program I can go on and win a refrigerator?
No, I don't. Come on, Don.
Well, I'm going to get a refrigerator even if I have to buy one.
Well, I don't care. Buy one? Get in the car, Mr. Fink. Good night, folks.
As it was broadcast mostly February 14th, 1954, the Jack Benny Show from 70 years ago today, on his birthday, which is the 14th day of February. Couple of notes on the show. As you heard, Mary wasn't there. Her audio would be, her lines would be dubbed in later by Mary. And it was, I believe, Joan Benny doing it, because you heard him refer to the person as Joni, so that was probably that. The show was recorded 4 days earlier because Jack Benny had a television show that came on just after the radio show did. So the show was pre-recorded for that. And a lot of the script used for this came from the show of February 13th, 1949. A delightful show and a funny show. Jack Benny, as it was originally broadcast, or as it was recorded on February 10th, 1954, and recorded February 14th, 1954. A lot of the shows in the last two seasons were pre-recorded, as a lot of stars were doing at the time, live before a studio audience. All right, coming up next, we're going to go back to 1937, February 14th, for Jack's birthday again, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
This year, 32,300 people are doomed to death.
By Cornelius Happ, I never stopped to realize.
You know, Harlow, it takes 10 seconds and 336 feet to stop a car traveling at 60 miles an hour. That's why brains are more important than brakes. Why, the man behind the wheel should beware of the speed at which he's driving. Why, safe and sane are synonymous words to drivers who value their fellows' lives as well as their own.
In other words, Hap, just because Autolite resistor spark plugs give your car more pep, don't try to use all of it, eh?
Exactly, Harlow. But there's more. The Good Samaritan is the gracious guy or gal who not only knows and keeps the rules of the road, but also keeps his temper in his head when some bungling Benny gives him the road hog treatment.
Yes, Hap, it's sad but true that one right way to wrong driving is to always demand your highway rights. Be sure to be safe.
Right, Harlow.
Okay, we'll wrap up this edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox by going way back to an episode of The Jell-O Show starring Jack Benny 87 years ago, February 14th, 1937. And let's see what Jack has to say about his birthday back then.
The Jell-O program, starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston and Phil Harris and his orchestra. The orchestra opens the program with Swing the Jinx Away from the picture Born to Dance. Today is St. Valentine's Day, a day that makes you think of gaiety and color. A day when people giving Valentine parties are serving Jell-O because Jell-O is such a gay, colorful, delicious dessert. And Jell-O is as popular at everyday meals as it is at parties. For Jell-O is good to look at, easy to make, and delicious to taste. Everybody everywhere is sure to give Jell-O's refreshing taste of fresh, ripe fruit the grand reception it deserves. So add a final triumphant, colorful note to your menus. Serve a great gleaming dish of Jell-O for dessert soon. But be sure you get genuine Jell-O, for only real Jell-O has that extra rich fruit flavor. Flavor that comes from fresh, ripe fruit. So order Jell-O tomorrow from your grocer, but be sure you get genuine Jell-O. Look for the big red letters on the box. Ladies and gentlemen, on this same Valentine's Day many years ago, in the little town of Waukegan, Illinois, there was cause for great rejoicing, for on that day, in a certain household, a little bundle of joy made his entrance into the world. So now we bring you Happy Birthday to you, Happy Birthday to you, Happy Birthday, Jack Benny, Happy Birthday to you.
Well, what an original greeting. How'd you fellas ever think of those words?
Come on, Jack, how about a speech? What do you think about a speech?
Well, this is rather embarrassing. I would like to say something, but I'm kind of all choked up. So I'll just say thanks a million thanks to you.
That's original, too.
Never mind the speech, Jack. We just want to wish you many happy returns of the day and hope that we'll all be with you on your next birthday. Well, thanks, Phil.
I feel the same way. And to prove it, Jack, I'm going to give you a great big kiss.
So am I. You stay out of this, Jenny. All right, come on, Mary. I'll give you the kiss. Mary, how was that?
Not bad.
Pretty good, huh?
No, just not bad.
Well, after all, Mary, you know, we're in front of an audience. Say, Jack, I was going to bring you a cake, but I didn't know how many candles to put on it.
Oh, yes, and by the way, Jack, how old are you?
Well, I'm in the neighborhood of 35.
I thought you moved from there.
Yes, but not far. On a clear day, I can still see 35. Well, birthdays do come along fast, don't they, Jack? Yes, sir. Here today and the Townsend plan tomorrow. Ah, that's life. Come in.
Mr. Benny?
Oh, you again. What is it this time?
May this, your birthday, bring you boundless joy, supreme happiness, and the realization of your fondest dreams.
Thanks. Now, please tell me, who are you?
Western Union greeting number 87. Goodbye.
How do you like that? That guy could be sent any place in the United States for a quarter, and he has to come here.
Oh, Jack, to forget the ribbing for a moment, the gang and I got together to buy you a birthday gift, and, well,
Yes?
Or you tell it, Mary.
Well, Jack, we got together and we didn't know what to buy you.
Oh, you didn't have to bother with anything.
So we all chipped in and went to see your picture, College Holiday.
Well, that's what I call a real tribute. But you might have invited me to the picture.
Oh, you wouldn't have liked it.
Well, Kenny, I can make allowances for the rest of the game, but I certainly thought that you'd come through with a present.
I did, Jack. But I thought I'd wait until everybody went home before giving it to you.
Oh, what is it, Kenny?
Well, I feel kind of silly.
Oh, come on now. What is it?
I baked you a cake.
Well, thanks, Kenny. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Wait till you eat it.
Here you are, Jack.
Oh, it's lovely, and such nice icing on it. Where are the candles?
Inside the cake.
Well, that's a surprise. I hope the wax doesn't get caught in my teeth.
I was going to bring you one too, Jack, but I don't know how to bake a cake.
Oh, that's all right, Mary.
So I baked a potato. Here.
Oh, a real Idaho. Well,
Jack, not to be outdone by the others, I didn't bake a cake, but I brought you a beautiful dish of molded raspberry jello.
Oh.
And on top of it, I have your name spelled out in sliced bananas.
That's sweet, but you only have one N in Benny.
Well, I was hungry.
I sure get a lot of presents. This must be the Prudence Benny's cooking school.
And now, Jack, if everybody will be quiet for a minute, I've got something that I want to read to you.
If it's a poem, I'll die.
Well, topple over. Here it comes.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, Jack Benny, oh, Jack Benny, this is sure your lucky day. Though everybody brings you presents, I would rather shout, hey, hey.
Well, that's inexpensive.
With the wrinkles on your forehead and your silver streaked with hair.
Silver streaked with hair.
Well, it won't rhyme the other way.
Oh.
If you'd been twins when you were born, gee, you'd make a lovely pair. Oh, Jack Benny, oh. There's more.
Well, the audience knows what they're doing. Oh, Phil, you better go into your number before Mary overrules the audience.
Okay.
Come in.
Postal telegram for Jack Benny.
Well, we got both companies in nicely. Right here, Bud.
Happy birthday, Mr. Benny.
Thank you. Well, get this. Dear Mr. Benny, stop. Very sincere congratulations on your birthday. Stop. You certainly fooled us again.
Who's it from, Jack?
The Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. Play, Phil. I'll fool them plenty many more years. played by Phil Harris and his orchestra. And, Phil, I want to tell you those boys of yours are in great shape today.
Well, Jack, they know it's your birthday.
Oh.
In fact, they've asked me if it's all right, they'd like to pay you a little tribute.
Why, certainly, Phil. I think it's awfully nice of them. After all, they're part of our little company.
Okay. Give it to him, boys. Happy birthday to Jack Benny. Greetings, Jack, from us to you.
Well,
if you're going to give a party, don't be cheap. Invite us, too.
That's cute, Phil. Well, thanks, boys, for that lovely sentiment and hint.
Say, Jack.
Yeah?
What about the bee? Are you going to play it tonight?
Well, Phil, I wanted to, but you know my violin was stolen last week. Oh, Mary, did you put that ad in the paper like I told you to?
Yes, here's a copy of it.
Oh.
Lost, strayed, or stolen, Jack Benny's violin. Answers to the name of Stratty and limps on one string.
What?
White spot on tail, owner heartbroken.
Mary, is that an ad for my violin?
Yes, and my uncle's dog.
It's a fine thing. By the time I get the violin back, it'll have fleas.
What's the difference? You'd scratch it anyway.
Everybody's a critic here.
Who do you think could have taken it, Jack?
Oh, I don't know, Don. I don't know. Gee, it couldn't have been Heifetz. He has a violin.
You didn't hide it yourself, did you, Jack?
Don't be so ridiculous.
I was only asking.
Well, don't ask such smart questions.
Yeah.
I wish I could help you out, Jack, but there are no violins in my orchestra.
Well, I'm sorry, too, Phil, because I'm really in rare form tonight, and I know I could do justice to the bee. I know. Come in.
Here comes Andy now.
Well, Andy, glad to see you.
Just thought I'd drop up, Jack, and wish you a happy birthday.
Well, thanks, Andy.
And I brought you a little present. Here it is, a combination necktie and suspenders.
That's quite a novelty. Necktie and suspenders. How does it work?
Well, you put it on like an ordinary tie, and you see this hole in the bottom?
Yeah.
Well, just fasten that onto your trousers.
Well, won't that choke me?
Yes, but your pants won't fall down.
I know that, Andy, but it'll still choke me.
Well, what would you rather do, breathe or blush?
I'd rather breathe.
Then I'll blush. So long, Jack.
Say, Jack, do you know a good lawyer?
A lawyer? Why?
Did you hear what Fred Allen said about me Wednesday night?
Oh, don't worry about that, Andy. He's been talking about me for weeks.
Yeah, and I thought he was pretty funny until Wednesday.
Well, Andy, don't take it to heart. Look what he said about me. He said I was so anemic that if I walked by a pack of bloodhounds, they wouldn't even look up.
I like that one.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah, believe me, those hounds would look up if Allen walked by.
They would?
Sure, he looks like a dog biscuit.
Nice work, Andy. Nice work. Say, Andy, come on out in the hall with me. I got a couple of gags about Allen that are real stingers.
Yes?
Sure. Kenny, are you ready for your song?
Why can't I sing out in the hall?
You stay right here and sing. Come on, Andy. Come in. Special delivery for Jack Benny. Take it, Mary.
Okay.
You coming, Jack?
Be right with you, Andy.
Oh, Jack, look. It's a comic Valentine. It's from Fred Allen.
Oh, yeah?
And it's got a cartoon of you playing a fiddle.
Well, let's hear what Cupid's got to say.
Roses are red, violinists are blue. All over the country on account of you.
That's very funny. Come on out in the hall, Andy. Now I'll really tell you something. That Allen is so anemic that if he ever walked into...
I'm a roving cowboy far away from home, far from my prairie where I used to roam, where the dogies wander and the wind blows free. Oh, my heart is yonder on the lone prairie. Oh, carry me back to the lone prairie where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me 'neath the western sky on the lone prairie. back my saddle. Give me back my gun. Give me back that bronco that I used to run. Let me spread my blanket by a peaceful stream. Hear the cowboy singing by the firelight's gleam. Oh, carry me back to the lone prairie where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me 'neath the western sky on the lone prairie. My
How was that, Andy?
That was the peach. Say, that's funnier than anything he ever said.
Yeah, that was Kenny Baker singing Carry Me Back to the Lone Prairie.
Oh, Jack.
Yeah?
A telegram came in for you while Kenny was singing.
Give it to me. Oh, it's from my father. Good old Dad. I knew he wouldn't forget my birthday.
What does it say, Jack?
Says, Dear son, received your old suit with the patch pockets and pants. Please send buttons, Dad.
Some sentiment.
Well, that's our code, meaning happy birthday. Buttons he wants yet. Come in.
Mr. Benny?
Yes?
I want to take this opportunity.
Hey, wait a minute. Look, fellas, look who's here. The old maestro, Ben Burns.
Yowza, yowza.
Well, Ben, I'm sure glad to see you. What brings you up here?
Well, I heard it was your birthday, Jack, so I thought I'd come up and rub it in.
Well, I can depend on that.
Yowza. And, Jack, I brought you a little present. Here you are. A box of cigars, and I hope you'll like them.
Well, and my favorite brand. Thanks, Ben.
You're welcome, my lad.
Hey, this box is half empty. What's the idea?
It's my favorite brand, too.
Yowza.
Say, Mary, see that guy's funny. Who is he?
I don't know, some orchestra leader.
Mary. Ben, you know Mary, don't you?
Oh, sure. Hello, Mary. How are you?
Fine, Ben. How are you and all the cads?
That's lads, not cads.
Don't tell me about those guys.
We put that over. Don't mind her, Ben. She's only kidding. Hey, Kenny, this is Ben Burney, the famous orchestra leader.
Well, hello, Kenny.
Do you need a good tenor?
Kenny.
Gee, I want to get ahead, too.
Well, come over and see me, Kenny. After all, money isn't everything.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine loyalty, Kenny.
Let him go, Jack. I'm available.
Yeah, Ben, working it up there. Some other time, Andy. Say, Ben, I want you to meet our maestro, to coin an expression. This is Phil Harris, the orchestra leader.
With what band?
Pardon me, I didn't get your name.
I'm Ben Burney, the old maestro.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm Phil Harris, the young maestro.
I can see you two fellas are going to hit it off all right. You know, Phil, Ben and I are supposed to look quite a bit alike.
Yes, there is a resemblance.
Yeah, between the two of you got a nice head of hair.
Nobody asked you.
Hey, Jack, what am I around here, an orphan?
Oh, little orphan Andy. I'm sorry, Andy. Ben, I want you to meet Andy Devine. You've probably heard his voice on our program the last few weeks.
Well, doggone it, I thought that was static.
Static?
I was right.
I'd like to introduce myself, Mr. Burney. I'm Don Wilson, the announcer here. You know.
Oh, you're the fellow that talks about Jell-O, like our announcer talks about good old keg line.
Yes, only your product holds just one delicious flavor.
Gee, aren't they subtle?
Say, Ben, you and Winchell are making a picture out of 20th Century Fox, aren't you?
Yeah, it's called Wake Up and Live.
Wake Up and Live. Must be dedicated to Fred Allen. Say, there's a very good friend of mine in that picture, Jack Haley.
Who?
Haley, Jack Haley.
Haley? I can't seem to place him.
Well, you probably didn't meet him. He plays the lead.
Now, wait a minute, Jack. I saw you in your last picture, College Holiday.
So what?
You didn't even meet the director.
Is that so? I was in a lot of scenes in that picture.
Yeah, right behind Burns and Allen.
Well,
Gee, if they turn the film around, Jack will be right up in front.
Kenny, you're a genius.
Yeah.
Stick around, Ben. Stick around. Phil's going to play something. You might as well hear some good music.
All right, Jack. It'll seem just like Tuesday night.
How about it? Come on, Phil. Show him what you can do.
Oh, no. I'm not going to do any of my tricks with Bernie standing here.
Don't worry, Phil. I'll stand right in front of him. Play, boy. Played by the orchestra and directed by Maestro Harris. How'd you like it, Maestro Bernie?
I thought it was great, Maestro.
Well, thanks for calling me Maestro, Ben. Alan doesn't even think I'm a musician.
Say, Ben, did you hear what Alan said about me Wednesday night?
You? Look what he said about me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and he keeps saying that I'm anemic.
He does, eh? Why, that guy Alan is so anemic that if you hit him in the face, he'd have to owe you a nosebleed.
That's good. You didn't muff it tonight. That's good. Say, Ben.
Fine thing.
Ben, come here a minute. Come here. I want to talk to you a second.
Yeah?
You know, just man to man.
What's on your
now,
mind?
He's supposed to be funny. But I can't see that fellow, Alan. Can you?
No, I can't.
I can't see him either.
Mary, what are you laughing at?
3 blind maestros.
Well, you earned that laugh.
Oh, Jack.
Yes, Kenny?
Wasn't that cavalcade he did of you and your ancestors a knockout?
Well, it didn't impress me that way. And incidentally, folks, tonight, as a special attraction, we have a little surprise for you. After much research, thought, and preparation, we are going to present the highlights in the life of Fred Allen. Curtain. Take it, boys. You have just heard the highlights in the life of Fred
Allen. Say, Jack, speaking of silence, when are you going to play the bee?
Well, Ben, I did want to play it tonight, but, you know, last week somebody stole my violin.
Yeah, I heard about that. And to show you what a pal I am, I brought my violin over, and you're welcome to use it.
Well, thanks, Ben, but to do justice to the number, I really should play it on my own violin. You see, mine is a Rembrandt.
Rembrandt? Well, Michelangelo whittled out mine.
a Stradivarius, a plumber?
Oh, that's the fella. Say, Jack, my violin is outside my car, and I'll bring it right in.
Better bring Rubidoff in, too.
Quiet, Mary. Oh, don't bother, Ben.
No, I'll be right back.
Oh, he shouldn't run out without a hat at his age.
Well, Jack, it looks like we're in for a musical treat tonight.
Yes, Don, I guess so, yeah.
Well, go to it, old boy, and remember my band's right behind you.
Thanks, Phil. You remember those special instructions I gave you?
To play loud.
Yeah, no.
Good luck on the bee, Jack. And remember, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that sting.
It'll be all right, Mary. It's my big moment, thanks to Ben butting in.
Say, I wonder what's keeping him anyway.
Oh, he'll be back soon. Don't worry about him.
You better run out and get him, Kenny.
But Kenny's got to sing.
I did sing.
Oh.
I'll get him, Jack.
Well, well, Don, you might as well give me that big build-up again. Go ahead, introduce me.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Benny will now play Schubert's immortal classic, The Bee.
Oh, Jack!
What is it, Kenny?
Ben Burney has disappeared.
Disappeared?
Oh.
How do you know?
I just saw two men grab a hold of him and push him into their car.
Two men, eh?
Yeah, and one of them looked like your chauffeur.
Why, it couldn't have been.
That's a fine way to treat a guest.
Well, this thing has gone far enough. First my violin disappears, then Bernie. If one more thing happens, I'll call the police.
Oh, Jack, look!
What's that?
Someone threw a stone.
Gee, and you haven't even played yet.
Look, Jack, there's a note tied to it.
It might be a clue. Read it, Don. What does it say?
It says, "This will be continued next Sunday night. Who threw the stone? Who wrote the note? Who won the 5th race at Santa Anita?
Who knows where Bernie is?
Who cares, Playboys?
Everybody knows that old saying about the way to a man's heart. And there's no doubt about it, good food surely does make a good impression. So if that certain somebody is coming to your house for dinner soon, here's something that's bound to make a hit with him. It's made with Jell-O, and it's called Midwinter Dessert. And this is how you make it. Dissolve 1 package of cherry Jell-O in 1 pint of hot water. Turn into a shallow pan, chill until firm, and then cut into cubes. After that, arrange grapefruit sections in sherbet glasses and top with cubes of cherry Jell-O, garnishing this grand combination with slices of banana. Wait till you see the reception it gets. It's a dessert that looks like $1 million and tastes more. Better order some Jell-O tomorrow and serve Midwinter Dessert for dinner. But be sure you get genuine Jell-O, for only Jell-O has that extra rich fruit flavor. Look for the big red letters on the box. They spell Jell-O.
This is the last number of the 20th program in the new Jell-O series, and we'll be with you again next Sunday night at the same time. I'd like to thank Ben Burney for coming up here tonight, and I hope he shows up on his own program next Tuesday.
Well, Jack, I understand that you and Mary are going to do Brewster's Millions on the air tomorrow night. Is that right?
Yes, Don, we're going to dabble in the drama a bit. Of course, it isn't exactly Hamlet, but it's a start. Huh, Mary?
All the world's a stage. To be or not to be, that is...
Quiet. Good night, folks.
Jell.
The song Carry Me Back to the Lone Prairie is from Stars Over Broadway, riding high from the score of Red Hot and Blue. The Jell-O program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston came to you from the NBC studios in Hollywood over the Red Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
From right in the middle of the Fred Allen-Jack Benny feud all those years ago, and boy, wasn't that fun to hear. The old Ben Burney, someone long forgotten in radio lore. February 14th, 1937, 87 years ago, Jack Benny in the Jell-O Show here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, it will be episodes of crime drama, mostly, with Dragnet, Big Town, Escape, Lives of Harry Lime, and The Lineup. That'll be coming up on our next Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. Have yourself a great Wednesday, and we will see you Thursday once again for more Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.